Chapter 2737. 10 years, a whole 10 years. Countless array formation experts and grandmasters had worked day and night to crack it. Finally, at this moment, they had cracked it. The earth ahead trembled, and the ground for millions of miles cracked open as if an abyss had opened. The terrifying aura of the Tao of Dragons soared into the clouds, turning into tens of thousands of giant dragon phantoms. They roared together, shattering the 9 heavens and 10 earths. At this moment, the central continent was in an uproar, and the world was shocked. One by one, the Holy Lands, great sects, and those living fossils in seclusion all opened their eyes. Using great divine abilities, they cast illusions in the sky and looked towards the Qinling Mountains. This was the nest of 10,000 dragons. Could it be that the nest of 10,000 dragons had opened? What a terrifying aura of the Tao of Dragon! It was definitely the nest of 10,000 dragons. It was time to move. The Yi family, Gu family, Jade Pool, Alcade, Dao Yi, and other holy lands, the Tai dynasty of the central continent, the Grand Xia dynasty, the White Horse Temple of the western desert, the Yen family of the southern mountains, the Demon King Palace of the northern plains. In short, the entire true spirit world was in an uproar. Those terrifying existences, the older generation experts, all came out of seclusion. The sacred lords of the various holy lands were also preparing to take action. In an instant, countless experts gathered in the nest of 10,000 dragons. Was it about to open? Lin Xian also stood up and looked at the terrifying scene in front of him with a solemn expression. This day had finally come. A drop of dragon blood had allowed his great dragon sword soul to improve so much. He wondered what realm the great dragon sword soul would improve to after entering the nest of 10,000 dragons. And what kind of growth would his cultivation and 9 yang divine body undergo? He was looking forward to it. Yi Wudao Wu Qin and the others also had flickering eyes. They didn't move forward because the aura of the Tao of Dragon ahead was still roaring. They had to wait for the aura of the Tao of Dragon to dissipate. In the sky, countless doors opened and powerful figures descended one after another. This time, it wasn't young warriors, but peerless experts, sacred lords, and sacred lords. Even some grand elders and living fossils had come. The appearance of these people were like gods of war, crushing the void, making everyone hold their breaths and tremble. On the Immortal Palace's side, there were also some powerful warriors. There were even many invincible kings. These were all new faces. Lin Xian was shocked. It seemed like Immortal Palace's influence was truly enormous. What he had grasped before was really just the tip of the iceberg. Immortal Palace's experts descended, arriving before Lin Xian. They respectfully cupped their fists and paid their respects to the palace master. Hall Master, let me introduce you. The Great Protector and a few others walked out and began to introduce these experts to Lin Xian. Lin Xian nodded, his eyes twinkling. Soon, he gained an understanding of these people. The lineup this time was even more magnificent and powerful than the one that explored the saint's tomb. Moreover, Lin Xian knew that this was only the strength on the surface. These people all carried important treasures and even teleportation scrolls. At the critical moment, they might find 1 or 2 saints to help them. He wondered if Xia Jia would appear this time. Even if it appeared, it would only appear at the most crucial moment. Lin Xian took a deep breath and looked into the distance. On the other side, the elders of the Central Plains imperial family were all extremely excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They stared at the 10,000 streaks of dragon qi in front of them, their faces full of shock. Their imperial family originally cultivated dragon qi, and their imperial dynasty had also occupied the dragon vein of the central state to cultivate. But now, the dragon qi in front of them had definitely surpassed theirs. This caused them to be extremely envious. If they could obtain the dragon Dao Qi, their strength would increase by leaps and bounds. No wonder there were people in ancient times who wanted to establish an imperial family here. No one could tolerate the dragon chi. A supreme elder sighed. The others were shocked. This was because they had heard of this matter. In the past, someone wanted to establish an imperial family here, but the next day, they were directly uprooted. Therefore, even if the dragon chi was so powerful now, no one dared to occupy this place. Everyone only wanted to absorb a little more. After waiting for a long time, the 10,000 streaks of dragon chi gradually weakened, and then disappeared into the big crack below. A flood of chi swept out, shocking everyone and causing them to retreat. After a long time, everyone flew over again. They looked at the abyss in front of them, their eyes flickering. We should be able to go in now, right? The Taiyan Sacred Master said in a deep voice. The Taishan Sacred Master was surrounded by a mysterious star chart. His eyes were like stars as he stared at the abyss inside. Eyes of stars! The surrounding elders and experts cried out in alarm. This was an extremely terrifying technique. On the other side, Lin Xian also opened his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked into the distance. He felt that there was a mysterious force in front of him that blocked his probing. He wondered if the Taishan Sacred Master saw it. Everyone waited for a while. The various sacred grounds and sects discussed and felt that it was about time. Among them, the Yi family, the Gu family, the Queen Mother of the West, and the others came to Lin Xian's side and decided to work together to open the way. After all, this trip to the nest of 10,000 dragons was jointly promoted by the 7 major organizations. Now that they were entering, the 7 of them would naturally be the leaders. Lin Xian agreed without hesitation. Although it was extremely dangerous to open the path in front, if there were treasures, he would be the first to get them. Now, Lin Xian not only had 6 protectors by his side, but also a group of experts. Among them were many older generation figures and many invincible kings. His strength and foundation could be said to be very strong. He was not weaker than the Yi family and the Queen Mother of the West. Let's go. Lin Xian, the Yi family patriarch, the Gu family patriarch, the Queen Mother of the West, and the other 7 sacred masters led their respective experts and flew forward. Behind them, the various sacred grounds, sects, and families moved out one after another. These people blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they flew towards the abyss ahead. Soon, they disappeared into the abyss. Lin Xian and the others were the first to enter. After they entered, they were extremely shocked. They discovered that there was actually a palace in this abyss. It was incomparably continuous and stretched for millions of miles. Underground palace. There was actually an underground palace inside. Everyone was extremely excited. Lin Xian's face was also full of surprise because on the path of the underground palace, dragon chi could be seen everywhere, transforming into small dragons that swam around. That aura was shocking. Perhaps even the depths of the Middle Ground's royal family did not have such a scene. And this was only the outermost area of the underground palace. One could imagine what kind of dragon chi there would be in the depths of the underground palace. Not only that, there were definitely endless treasures buried here. Ha ha ha, we're rich. Many people threw their heads back and laughed loudly. Some people had solemn expressions. After all, the incident of the guardian nest was still vivid in their minds. The nest of 10,000 dragons was extremely terrifying. Who knew what kind of danger there would be? Therefore, those sacred masters and sect masters all reminded their disciples to be careful. The saints and saintesses of the various sacred grounds were also excited. Chapter 2738. If they could obtain some treasures here, their strength would increase again. At that time, they might be able to fight against Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others. After walking for a while, the Queen Mother, Yi family head, and the others discussed and decided to let the sacred masters and sect masters and grand elders go first to explore quickly. They would let the younger generation temper themselves at the back. After all, the younger generation wouldn't be of much use if they followed them. However, if they were allowed to move alone, They could not only find treasures, but also fight and temper themselves. This was something that all the great sects of the Holy Lands wanted to see. Of course, the premise of all this was that the entire area had been explored by them and there weren't any great dangers. Lin Xian nodded and looked at a figure. This figure was a new, invincible king. He was very powerful, and even the great protector was respectful to him. This person was called Li Xuanxian. According to the great protector's introduction, Li Xuanxian's strength was not weaker than the sacred masters and sect masters. Therefore, Lin Xian let Li Xuanxian represent Immortal Palace and lead the experts of the Immortal Palace to follow the Queen Mother, Yi family head, and the others to explore together. Li Xuanxian, the Queen Mother, and the others set down a few coordinates. This area was safe, and they had already explored it. Although there were traps and killing formations here, they were not beyond the tolerance of these saints and heaven's chosen. Therefore, they planned to leave this area for these people to hunt for treasures and kill. They knew that there were dangers in this. Perhaps some heaven's chosen would fall. But this was a process that had to be experienced. Only those who had gone through a lot of tempering could become the strongest. Next, Li Xuanxian, the Queen Mother, Yi family head, Gu family head, and the sacred masters and sect masters all left. Most of them followed. Of course, the younger generation stayed here. It wasn't that there were no older generation figures and other experts. There were also many invincible kings who stayed. They looked at the young saints and heavens chosen behind them and sneered. Although you are saints, saintesses, princes, and heavens chosen, in front of absolute strength, you don't have the right to behave atrociously. Hurry up and get lost. This area is ours. An invincible king stood out, and his voice resounded in all directions. Damn it, don't be so arrogant. The martial artists from the great sects of the Holy Lands roared. This was a place left to them by their sect masters. But now, it was occupied by other invincible kings. Damn it! Why didn't the sect leader make a move to kill these invincible kings? Many people roared in anger. However, Lin Xian, Leaf Daudenier, and the others simply laughed coldly. A mere invincible king wanted to intimidate all of them. He really didn't know what death was. Lin Xian was the first to step forward. I'll give you a chance. Scram! Brat, you're courting death. Don't think that I won't dare to kill you just because you're the central emperor. At this point, the invincible king stretched out his palm, bringing with it a terrifying wave as he slammed it toward Yi Futian. Water magic palm. This palm strike caused the air to quickly melt. This was no ordinary palm, nor was it ordinary seawater. It was a type of palm known as true devil water. The palm was extremely corrosive, and nothing could withstand this corrosive power. Seeing this, Lin Xian sneered. He took a step forward and punched out. It was like a sun crashing into the ground. With a boom, flames burned fiercely and melted the terrifying true devil water. The giant palm formed from true demon water emitted sizzling white smoke and evaporated in an instant. Ah, that invincible king screamed miserably. His palm was directly roasted, revealing deep white bones. Blood mixed with flesh and blood flowed all over the ground. It was very pungent. Damn brat, how dare you hurt me? The invincible king roared crazily. He was too shocked. Yi Futian's simple punch had injured him. How could he believe it? The others around him were also shocked. But soon they sneered. Invincible king? In front of the strongest genius of the younger generation. You're just a piece of trash. That's right, Lin Xian is still the mightiest. The supporters roared crazily, their faces full of excitement. The invincible king gritted his teeth and roared. Damn brat, I'm going to kill you. Just as he was about to attack, another golden figure blocked his path. Get lost. This golden figure was Leaf Daudenier. He raised his foot and stomped forward. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. This foot contained boundless power and directly sent the invincible king flying. Ka! Many cracks appeared on the invincible king's body, and blood dyed the sky red. Was this the power of the saint body? How terrifying! It was not weaker than the 9-yang divine body. Leaf Daudenier was indeed terrifying. The surrounding people exclaimed. They did not expect that a casual attack from him could easily injure an invincible king. It could not be helped. They were already heaven-defying before. In the past 10 years, they had been tempered and nourished by so many guardian layers. They were not weaker than invincible kings. Perhaps ordinary invincible kings would not be a match for them at all. Sure enough, Dustless also walked out. With a light wave of his hand, a wisp of Buddhist light floated out and sent the invincible king flying again. The invincible king's body exploded into pieces. His face was full of fear as he ran into the distance. He did not dare to be arrogant anymore. These 3 titled geniuses were too terrifying. If they wanted to, they could easily kill him. The era of the younger generation was about to arrive. Some of the older generation experts exclaimed. Indeed, most of the people here were young, but there were also many older generation figures and peerless experts. They looked at the scene in front of them in shock. Next, it would be the era of kings. These young geniuses would reach the peak and compete with the invincible kings. All right, let's go and explore this place. Lin Xian waved his hand. Peacock, Hui Dao, and Ghostly led the martial artists of Immortal Palace and quickly moved out. On the other side, Leaf Daudenier and Dustless did the same. Murong Qingqing, Shen Jingchuo Wuhua, Gu Santong, the Prince of Granxia, the Alcade Sage, and other saints and geniuses also moved out. In an instant, these people covered the sky and earth, and they searched in all directions. Lin Xian led the people of Immortal Palace to a certain place and looked at the aura of true dragons in front of them. They were extremely shocked. Lin Xian's eyes flickered and he frowned. He opened his heavenly secret divine eye and looked around. Incredible! This place was simply too astonishing. There was an extremely powerful and peerless dragon vein underground. Also, be careful. Although this place is nothing to the sacred lord, it is still very dangerous for us. There were many formations here. In an instant, Lin Xian saw his surroundings clearly. The crimson dragon beside him was roaring non-stop. What are you waiting for? Hurry up! He was too excited. After working for so long, he finally came in. How could he give up? Therefore, he opened his mouth and crazily absorbed the surrounding dragon chi. He was not the only one. Everyone was absorbing the dragon chi. Chapter 2739. The Tao of Dragon Aura was even more terrifying than spiritual chi. Although many of them were not from the royal family, the Tao of Dragon Aura was useful to them. However, this Tao of Dragon Aura was also very useful to them. It could be converted into pure energy. In an instant, a fight for the Tao of Dragon Aura began. The crimson dragon roared and turned into a huge dragon that was hundreds of feet long, devouring the surrounding Tao of Dragon Aura. He was from the Dragon Clan, so he was very familiar with the Tao of Dragon Aura. Dragon-shaped Tao of Dragon Aura poured into his mouth, making him feel very refreshed. Damn it, who is it? How can he snatch my Tao of Dragon Aura? A roar came from afar. It was a middle-aged man in a dragon robe. He walked with majestic steps. He was emitting a terrifying aura. He was an invincible king, and he was a king of the 9 Li dynasty. When he turned his head and saw the crimson dragon, he was stunned. What a terrifying absorption speed! What was that thing, a Jiao dragon? He was a king of the royal family. He was powerful and cultivated the imperial dragon aura. Logically speaking, people like him should be absorbing the Tao of Dragon Aura the fastest. But that was not right. The Tao of Dragon Aura around him was snatched away by the other party. Not only the king of the 9 Li dynasty, but the people of the Divine Wind dynasty, Tai dynasty, and Great Xia dynasty were also shocked. They realized that the Crimson Dragon was too mysterious. Seeing the Crimson Dragon so powerful, Lin Xian was also surprised. His figure flashed, and he came to another space to avoid conflict with the Crimson Dragon. In the next moment, he snorted and activated the Great Dragon Sword Soul. With a roar, a dragon shadow appeared on his body, and it was also absorbing the surrounding Tao of dragon aura crazily. Boom! 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 A loud dragon roar sounded, and a crazy devouring power was generated from the Great Dragon Sword Soul and swept in all directions. At this moment, the Tao of dragon aura in the space trembled. Countless dragon roars rang out as they surged towards Lin Xian. Oh no, what did that kid do? Cries of alarm could be heard, especially from the princes, elders, and princes of the imperial family. They were all going crazy. Damn it, they originally thought that a crimson dragon was already terrifying enough. Unexpectedly, Lin Xian's side was even more perverted. The speed at which it was retracted was no slower than that of the Crimson Dragon. It was that dragon shadow again. What exactly was that? Was this kid really related to the Dragon Clan? The eyes of many powerhouses flashed. This was not the first time they had seen the dragon shadow beside Lin Xian. However, they still had not figured out what the other party was. Buzz, at this moment the crowd exclaimed again. The prince of the Great Xia dynasty stood on the golden dragon sword and roared furiously as he began to absorb the energy. The prince of the Great Xia dynasty was an extremely terrifying prince in the royal family. Now that he had gone all out, it naturally created a terrifying scene. The other princes, princesses, and princesses didn't dare to linger around either. They quickly scrambled to absorb the energy. Other than Lin Xian and the members of the middle ground royal family, the saints and geniuses of the other sacred grounds were also frantically absorbing the energy. Yi Wu Dao, Wu Qin, Wu Hua, Gu Santong, and the others were all making their moves. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu were also using their own secret techniques, using the energy of the dragon to refine themselves. Buzz! Not long after, another loud dragon roar could be heard. Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly, turning into two sharp swords that smashed the ground in front of him. Then a white figure soared into the sky and turned into a white dragon, roaring in the void. Lin Xian was shocked. Before he could see clearly, the powerhouses in the distance exclaimed, "Dragon marrow! That's dragon marrow! Oh my God, this is indeed a huge treasure trove. Even dragon marrow has appeared." What? Dragon marrow! The surrounding people went crazy when they heard this. They looked at the white dragon in the sky in shock. This must be an illusion formed by the combination of the dragon marrow and the energy of the dragon. Hurry up and snatch it. Dragon marrow was incomparably precious. It was not inferior to dragon blood. In an instant, dozens of large palms covered the sky and pierced through the void, grabbing at the white dragon. However, the white dragon's tail was very agile. It was only a dozen meters long, but it was very agile. It quickly flashed through the void and dodged the palms. However, these people would not give up such a precious thing. How could they not make a move? In an instant, all kinds of king domains and divine abilities were used. They covered the sky. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian's face darkened, and he snorted coldly. Scram! He opened and closed his fists, causing explosions in all directions. Carrying a terrifying divine flame, he broke through the divine abilities. This was the dragon marrow that he had discovered. How could he let others snatch it away? Oh no, Lin Xian has made a move. Hurry up and run. The Central Emperor was very terrifying. These people were terrified. They had seen Lin Xian's power with their own eyes. For a moment, many people gave up and looked for other places to see if there was dragon marrow. However, there were also some powerhouses who did not give up. So what if it was the Central Emperor? In front of the dragon marrow, they would not retreat. Among them, there was an old figure. His eyes were like divine lamps as he stared at Lin Xian. Get lost, kid! With a cold shout, He waved the walking stick in his hand. The surrounding dragon aura quickly rolled and turned into a huge dragon that bared its fangs and brandished its claws, grabbing at Lin Xian. What? Who was this person? How could he control the dragon aura? Was he a powerhouse of the royal family? The surrounding people went crazy. They had only seen people crazily fighting for the dragon aura, but they had never seen someone using the dragon aura. This move was simply too terrifying. It was not a member of the Zhongzhou royal family, but a member of the Tuoba family. They were a family of spirit seekers. A spirit seeker could search for spiritual energy. The dragon vein was also a type of spiritual energy. However, it was very special, so these spirit seekers could control the dragon vein. Tuoba Jinshui was very excited. He was an elder of the Tuoba family who had lived for nearly 2,000 years. His spirit-seeking technique was very terrifying, and he had already reached the level of an earth spirit seeker. He was even confident that he would become a celestial spirit seeker in the future. He was full of confidence and excitement at the opening of the nest of 10,000 dragons this time, because this way he would be able to see the legendary dragon vein. He had seen 1 or 2 dragon veins before. At that time he was shocked. Now that he saw so much dragon aura in the nest of 10,000 dragons and the unparalleled dragon vein, he realized that the one he saw before was really too small. After arriving at the nest of 10,000 dragons, Tuoba Jinshui was wild with excitement. He felt that his era had arrived. Because he was a spirit seeker, he could control the dragon aura here. Sure enough, after entering, he secretly tried it and found that he could really control it. Although it was more difficult than controlling the spiritual energy, he couldn't care less. With these dragon veins here for him to use, he would be an invincible existence here. Chapter 2740. Therefore, when he saw the dragon marrow, he was overjoyed and immediately attacked Lin Xian. In the sky, 8 streams of dragon aura turned into giant dragons that clawed at Lin Xian. In an instant, the space where Lin Xian was shattered. Roar, 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 roar. The loud dragon roar made everyone tremble in fear. Lin Xian waved his fists and charged forward like a god of war. His fists trembled, bringing with them terrifying flames. The power of the sun turned into golden crows that charged forward. Boom! The 8 giant dragon phantoms were killed, and the aura of the dragon filled the area. Lin Xian was like a demon god as he looked down from the sky. He stared at Tuoba Jinshui. "Old man, do you want to die? I was the one who found the dragon marrow. Get lost." He did not have a good impression of the Tuoba family. They were mortal enemies. Tuoba Jinshui's face was dark. How dare the other party humiliate him like this? He was courting death. He was an invincible king, and now that he had so many dragon veins for him to control, killing invincible kings would be a piece of cake. But the other party dared to look down on him and scold him? Tuoba Jinshui could not tolerate this. "Kid, don't think that I won't dare to kill you just because you are a central emperor. It might be more troublesome for me to kill you outside, but here I have tens of thousands of dragon aura for me to use. You are definitely dead. 9 dragons devouring heaven array." Tuoba Jinshui sneered. His withered hand waved the walking stick in his hand, and mysterious runes shot out. He quickly used a secret technique to control the surrounding aura of the Tao of Dragon, forming a terrifying formation that enveloped Lin Xian. Roar, roar, roar. The terrifying array spread out, and 9 dragon phantoms circled around, emitting killing intent. How terrifying! The people of the Tuoba family were too terrifying. Yes, especially in front of so many dragon auras. The other party was simply an invincible existence. Lin Xian was not afraid of being trapped by such a terrifying array. "Do you think that only you can control these dragon auras?" A hint of disdain appeared in his eyes. He possessed the great dragon sword soul. In addition to his terrifying attack power, the dragon soul's aura was even more terrifying. After all, it was formed by the fusion of a true dragon and the strongest power of the world. The aura of that dragon soul was absolutely incomparable. It was simply too easy for Lin Xian to control these Dragon Dao auras. Sure enough, in the next moment, under the power of the great dragon sword spirit, the 9 dragons devouring the heavens formation instantly disintegrated. Not only that, moreover, under Lin Xian's control, they instantly regrouped in the distance and enveloped the true Tuoba water. Old thing, have a taste of the power of your formation. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 9 dragons devouring the heavens formation was activated. Between heaven and earth, a terrifying murderous aura surrounded the area, and terrifying energy filled the air. The surrounding people couldn't believe what they were seeing. What was going on? The 9 dragons devouring the heavens formation was broken in an instant. Furthermore, they had surrounded and attacked Tuoba Jinshui. What was going on? Could it be that Lin Xian was also a seeker spirit master? No way, he was already so powerful, and he was still a seeker spirit master? How could he let others live? That's right, even if he was a seeker spirit master, how could he compare to the Tuoba family in terms of spirit-seeking technique? Especially Tuoba Jinshui, an old monster who had lived for nearly 2,000 years. The surrounding people screamed crazily, unable to accept this at all. Tuoba Jinshui's expression was also extremely ugly. He didn't expect the other party to have such shocking means. In an instant he was attacked fiercely. However, he was an invincible king. At this moment, the energy in his body exploded, forming a powerful force that bombarded the 9 dragon shadows. Damn it, get lost! He also controlled the Dragon Dao aura again, wanting to counterattack. Boom! A cold look appeared in Lin Xian's eyes as he directly detonated the 9 dragons devouring the heavens formation. The terrifying formation cracked open, and the Dragon Dao aura spread out, attacking Tuoba Jinshui's body. Tuoba Jinshui was sent flying, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. All the bones in his body were broken, and his eyes were incomparably ferocious. Damn it, this is too damn it. Kid, I'm going to kill you. The killing intent in his eyes disappeared, and the Dragon Dao aura poured into his body, healing his injuries. In an instant he had recovered. However, the anger in his body surged to the heavens. A junior actually made him suffer? This was a slap to his face in front of everyone. He couldn't accept it. Go to hell, brat. Tuoba Jinshui instantly charged forward. He raised his palm, and the Dragon Dao aura around him surged rapidly. It merged with his palm, and a terrifying dragon-shaped palm was instantly formed. It was like a dragon head, and it was incomparably ferocious. With a terrifying killing intent, it charged towards Lin Xian. Between heaven and earth, the wind and clouds changed. The terrifying energy emitted a mysterious aura, causing the surrounding experts to tremble. Lin Xian frowned. Facing this palm, he snorted coldly. He waved his fist, and thousands of rays of light bloomed on his body. There was even a dragon shadow circling around. With a boom, the 9 suns' divine fist and the terrifying dragon-shaped palm collided. Earth-shattering energy exploded, and the 2 of them retreated at the same time. Lin Xian was unharmed. Tuoba Jinshui's palm was destroyed, and the Dragon Dao aura scattered on the ground again. Old thing, who do you think you are? How dare you compete with me? Lin Xian snorted coldly, waved the 9 suns' divine fist, and quickly charged out. At this moment, Lin Xian was like a peerless god of war, incomparably powerful. The faces of the surrounding people were filled with terror. Tuoba Jinshui's expression was also extremely ugly. His aura was tumbling, and he was like an enraged lion, dodging quickly. There was no other way. Lin Xian was simply too powerful. After exchanging blows, he realized how strong his opponent's physique was. With the same power, his opponent didn't even need to dodge, and he wouldn't be injured. However, he couldn't. His body couldn't withstand this power at all, and he had to use armor or a shield to defend. However, he might not be able to defend himself. As expected, Lin Xian fought with him barehanded, and the two of them fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Tuoba Jinshui took out a dragon head blade and slashed down, but Lin Xian grabbed it and broke it in half. Tuoba Jinshui's eyes almost popped out. That was a heaven-grade treasure blade, and it was broken by his opponent's bare hands. Damn, did he have to be so terrifying? Previously, he thought that only a sacred body could be so powerful, but now the Nine Suns' divine body was incomparably terrifying, and it wasn't any weaker than a sacred body. Damn brat! Just you wait, I won't let you off. Tuoba Jinshui roared and turned to flee. What a joke! He couldn't defeat his opponent at all. Originally, he thought that with the Dragon Dao aura, he could easily kill his opponent. However, his opponent's method of controlling the Dragon Dao aura seemed to be more brilliant and terrifying than his. His advantage was gone, and in addition to his opponent's Nine Suns' divine body, he couldn't fight against his opponent at all. Otherwise, it was very likely that he would be killed here. Chapter 2741. Seeing Tuoba Jinshui escape, the experts in the distance were stunned. Lin Xian was too strong. Even the Tuoba family's elder was no match for him. He was an earth spirit master. You want to leave? You old bastard, stay here for me. Lin Xian roared and once again used the great dragon sword spirit to control the surrounding dragon veins. The other party was too naive to think that he could come and go as he pleased. Was he Lin Xian, someone who could be killed so easily? Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his hand. Immediately, the ground shook violently. Streams of dragon chi roared and formed 81 true dragon shadows. All of them charged towards Tuoba Jinshui. At this moment, the 81 true dragon shadows were formed by the dragon chi and also contained the power of the great dragon sword soul. It was terrifying. They covered the sky and swallowed Tuoba Jinshui. Although Tuoba Jinshui was an invincible king, he could not resist the terrifying dragon vein at this moment. He gathered some dragon chi to resist, but how could his spirit-seeking technique be a match for the great dragon sword soul? In an instant, his body froze and he could not move. In the next moment, he was hit by a dragon shadow and shattered. Boom! 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 His body was torn apart and only his head remained intact. The head was filled with fear and it turned into a ray of light and escaped into the distance. At the same time, the head spat out a sword and flew into the distance. Buzz! Buzz! Die for me! Lin Xian manipulated the 81 true dragon silhouettes to open their jaws and chomp down on the head. Boom! 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 The ground shook as the 81 true dragon heads sank into the ground and exploded. Endless chi rushed out and formed a terrifying black hole. Seeing this scene, the Tuoba family members screamed crazily. Elder, no, damn it, you can't do this. They were going crazy. Tuoba Jinshui could not survive such a terrifying energy attack. That was the true dragon chi. Indeed, after a long time, Tuoba Jinshui did not fly up. It was obvious that he was killed. The faces of the Tuoba family's warriors turned ashen. They had not expected such an outcome. The other saints, prodigies, and experts were also stunned. Another invincible king had been killed. Furthermore, he was a powerful earth spiritualist. He could control the dragon veins. In this place, one's battle prowess was multiplied. But even so, he was still no match for Lin Xian. This Lin Xian was too terrifying. That's right. It was best not to provoke him. Those people trembled and their faces were filled with fear. Lin Xian turned around and stretched out his azure dragon hand to grab the white dragon. Whong! Soon he caught the white dragon in his hand. The white dragon struggled, trying to break free. The aura of the Tao of Dragons in the surroundings roared incessantly. However, under the power of the great dragon sword soul, all of the dragon aura was destroyed. The white dragon was also bound and turned into a drop of dragon marrow. This dragon marrow was as big as a finger. It was sparkling and translucent like white jade, exuding pure energy. Lin Xian opened his mouth and ate it without any hesitation. In the next moment, all the pores on his body opened, and he felt a wave of pure energy rush into his body like a vast ocean. He opened his eyes, and a shocking light appeared in his eyes. It was so fragrant and delicious. Moreover, the energy was too overwhelming. This definitely surpassed other natural treasures. As expected of dragon marrow, it was indeed satisfying. The crimson dragon roared excitedly. He had caught a drop of dragon marrow. The others, such as Yi Wu Dao and Wu Qin, also grabbed a drop of dragon marrow. They all consumed it. Soon, the blood in their bodies surged and rushed into the sky. The crimson dragon roared, "Kid, follow me. I found something good. Let's go." Lin Xian waved his hand and led everyone away. Xinjing Qiu and Murong Qingqing also followed by his side. They were confused. The little snow-white monkey also flew out. He looked around, and his big eyes turned. Then he turned into a ray of light and disappeared. Lin Xian wasn't worried about this little fellow. He had never seen him suffer a loss before. They were confused. The little white monkey soon returned. He grabbed Lin Xian and jumped up and down excitedly. He pointed in the direction where the crimson dragon was heading. What was there? Why were the two of them so excited? Lin Xian could not help but speed up. Soon they arrived in front. It smelled so good. Everyone was shocked. It was indeed very fragrant. Not only Lin Xian, but Peacock and the others were also surprised. Murong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu's eyes lit up. The other saints and prodigies were the same. They looked in all directions. Over there. Soon they found that there were plants in the dragon Qi below. There were very few of them, only 5 in total. These 5 plants were sparkling and translucent. They were 5-colored and had fruits on them that looked like swimming dragons. They emitted a mysterious power. Not only that, but these plants were surrounded by endless dragon aura. There were even a few groups that grew directly on the dragon marrow. Damn, using dragon marrow as soil. How extravagant! The eyes of the saints and prodigies were red. Lin Xian's eyes lit up as he stared at the dragon-shaped fruit. He asked, "Ruzelong, what is this?" The dragon spirit fruit was something that only grew in the dragon vein. The dragon spirit fruit seemed to have existed for a long time, about 5,000 to 6,000 years. That's not right. The nest of 10,000 dragons has existed for countless years. Why are the spirit fruits only 5,000 to 6,000 years old? Lin Xian was surprised. Could it be that there are living creatures in there that ate them? He did not know. However, he knew that the crimson dragon's speculation was right. These spirit fruits were 5,000 to 6,000 years old. However, this was already very impressive. After all, these fruits were nourished with dragon marrow and dragon aura. They were absolutely heaven-defying. As expected, Little White could not help but drool. It waved its little paws, and a wave of space power spread in front of it. Telekinesis. However, the surrounding auras of the Tao of Dragons made it impossible for the little guy to grab the dragon spiritual fruits from a distance. Little White scratched its ears and cheeks anxiously. Its body swayed and turned into a flash of light, wanting to rush over. However, just as he was halfway there, a black light blade slashed towards him. Little White was so frightened that it hurriedly dodged. In the sky, black light blades appeared one after another, chasing after Little White. Little White returned to Lin Xian's side and waved its paws angrily. Lin Xian frowned. Space power, what a terrifying space power. If not for the little white monkey's super-fast speed, it would have been killed long ago. If it were other invincible kings, they would probably be injured too. Who is it that has such terrifying space power? Damn it, it's the Gu family. They discovered that a huge space crack had appeared in front of them. It was like a natural chasm that blocked their way. It's the Gu family, the surrounding people also exclaimed. Chapter 2742. The Gu clan was a descendant of the Emperor clan in the ancient barren world. Their ancestors had produced emperors. Void Emperor. The void technique was extremely mysterious. The blood that flowed in the Gu clan naturally had the power of space. Hence, it was easy for them to cultivate the void mystique. As expected, the spatial energy that Lin Fan was using left these saints and chosen flabbergasted. The Gu clan's move caught Lin Xian and the rest off guard. Even the other saints and Skype rides were frowning. Brother Lin, I'm sorry. I can't control the clan's actions. Gu Santong came to Lin Xian's side and said apologetically. Lin Xian shook his head. It's fine. It's not your fault. He knew that although Gu Santong was a genius, he did not have the divine body of the Gu clan, nor was he the Gu clan leader. Hence, he could not command the Gu clan to do anything. Even someone as strong as Yi Wudao could not control everyone from the Yi clan. Even within the same clan, the roots were intertwined and the waters were very deep. Lin Xian knew all of this, and so did the other saints and Skype rides. Brother Lin, the Gu clan's void technique is amazing. You have to be careful. Gu Santong gave some instructions, then flew into the air and joined the fight. You're the Lin Xian that Sun always talks about? A youth descended from the sky and looked at Lin Xian. There were a few disciples around him. There were both men and women. Their nerves were unusually cold. Yes, I am. Lin Xian nodded. Who are you? Gu Tianqi. Never heard of him. Lin Xian shook his head. Kid, you're too arrogant. Gu Tianqi's face darkened. He was a genius of the Gu clan. He was stronger than Gu Santong. However, the other party said that he had never heard of him. How could he accept this? He had never been looked down upon like this before. Brat, I advise you to hurry up and leave. Although you're strong, you won't be able to get a single dragon spirit fruit in front of the Gu clan's great void technique. Can't get a single one? You're too confident. Even if your Gu clan's divine body came, he wouldn't dare to talk to me like this. For the sake of Gu Santong, I'll spare your life. Get out of here. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian took a step forward. His 9-yang divine body blossomed with radiance. He was like a flaming war god. Terrifying waves of qi swept out in all directions. You're courting death. Gu Tianqi's expression darkened. He was also a famous peerless genius. So what if his opponent was a medium emperor? It was just that the heaven rankers of the Gu family disdained to fight for this title. They were emperor clans. He was the descendant of the great emperor, and his body contained supreme blood. Therefore, at this moment, when he heard the other party's words, he was incomparably furious. Die, brat! He struck out with his palm and disappeared without a trace. While everyone was still in shock, a large purple palm appeared above Lin Xian's head. That palm strike was too strange. The Great Void Palm was a void technique. Without a trace, it was impossible to determine where it would appear. Some of the older generation experts exclaimed. The other saints and Skype rides also stepped back. They attacked from another direction. However, the Gu family's experts quickly intercepted them. In an instant, a great battle broke out. Lin Xian was the first to bear the brunt. When the large purple palm descended, he used the yin-yang 8 steps. He took a step forward and quickly moved forward. Whoosh! He dodged the palm strike by a hair's breadth. In front, Gu Tianqi sneered. He waved his palm, and a terrifying purple void palm appeared in the sky. Every time, it appeared around Lin Xian and was about to envelop him. If he was hit by this palm, he would be seriously injured, even if he didn't die. Lin Xian was also surprised. Other than Gu Santong, this was the first time he had fought with someone from the Gu family. Jia Jia's void technique was indeed incomparably mysterious. Fortunately, he was fast. Otherwise, if it were anyone else, they would have been killed long ago. Was this the power of an emperor clan? Too powerful. This strength surpassed that of ordinary saints and sky prides. Void spear. At this moment, Gu Tianqi sneered again. With a wave of his palm, the void in front of Lin Xian shattered. A purple spear appeared out of thin air and pierced toward Lin Xian's heart. It was too fast and too strange. It was impossible to guard against. Clang! An earth-shattering sound rang out. Lin Xian flew backward and shattered the void. What? Lin Xian was hit. It's over. Is this kid okay? The surrounding spectators were so scared that their scalps went numb. Gu Tianqi also laughed loudly. What central emperor? In front of the Gu family's void technique, he was nothing. However, just as his laughter sounded, it froze. The smile on his face also froze. His handsome face became incomparably ugly. Lin Xian flew back again. The light on his body was still as before, and he was not injured at all. What? He was not injured? Such a terrifying attack directly hit his vitals, and he was not injured at all. This nine-young divine body was really powerful. Gu Tianqi's face was also gloomy. His opponent's physique was too strong beyond his expectations. But so what? He did not believe that his opponent could withstand his attacks forever. Buzz! He took out a purple spear from his storage ring. This was a real void spear, an extremely terrifying heaven-grade treasure. The void spear trembled, and the surrounding space started to tremble rapidly. Everyone felt a wave of pressure appear. They seemed to have fallen into a 10,000-year quagmire, and even their movements became slow. Damn it! It was too terrifying. Just a casual shake could affect the space. This was definitely a peerless enemy. Go to hell, brat. Gu Tianqi waved the void spear and charged toward Lin Xian again. In an instant, the void around Lin Xian split open, and 8 purple shadows appeared, attacking his vitals. With a furious roar, he swung his fists and blasted all the purple shadows away. Black and white dragon chi appeared under his feet, and the sword light on his body soared into the sky. At this moment, he was incomparably powerful, and his gaze was like lightning as he stared at Gu Tianqi. You're just eso. Buzz. Lin Xian waved his hand and charged over. Below, the earth trembled and the dragon vein rolled. 81 streaks of dragon chi rushed into the sky, forming a cage that directly enveloped Gu Tianqi. Controlling the dragon veins aura again. Damn it, this kid is really strange. The surrounding people were terrified. Gu Tianqi laughed sinisterly. You want to trap me with just dragon chi? You're really naive. As he spoke, his body disappeared into thin air. Not good, the void technique. This kid was too careless. The Gu family was good at the void technique. They came and went without a trace, and there was no way to trap them. Yes, although 81 streaks of dragon chi were terrifying, it was still not enough to trap a genius of the Gu family. They did not know how Lin Xian would deal with it this time. Discussions broke out one after another. Murong Qingcheng, Shen Jingqiu, and the Crimson Dragon were also attacked by the Gu family. In the sky, all kinds of terrifying spatial abilities appeared one after another, blocking everyone's path. Chapter 2743. Whoosh whoosh. At that moment, the void behind Lin Xian's voice suddenly split open, and a figure appeared. It was Gu Tianqi. The void spear in his hand pierced towards Lin Xian's back. Get lost. Lin Xian slapped the void spear with his palm. However, Gu Tianqi did not resist at all. His figure flickered and disappeared again. Lin Xian's palm directly shattered the void behind him, but no one appeared. The surrounding experts were shocked. The spatial technique was too terrifying, surpassing any movement technique. No one knew where he would appear in the next moment. It was impossible to guard against, and there was no way to chase after him. That's right, this was practically an invincible position. Advantageous to the innate invincibility? Too naive. Did you really think that I wouldn't notice you? As he spoke, Lin Xian formed a sword qi in his hand and stabbed towards the left. The sword qi turned into a dragon that was 100 feet long and directly shattered the void. With a whoosh, a figure was knocked out. The person who was knocked out was Gu Tianqi. His face was blank as he stood there in a daze. The surrounding people were also stunned. The people of the Gu family screamed, "Damn it, that's impossible." Gu Santong, who was fighting in the distance, smiled bitterly when he saw this scene. Nothing was impossible. Lin Xian's ocular technique was unparalleled and terrifying. He could see through everything. He shook his head and ignored it. After all, Gu Tianqi was not from their bloodline. He was knocked out. Gu Tianqi was knocked out. Had his void technique been broken? Heavens! How did Lin Xian do it? Exclamations of surprise were heard. Gu Tianqi also came back to his senses. His face was full of shock. He roared crazily, "Damn it! That's impossible! I don't believe it! You guessed it! You must have guessed it!" As he spoke, he disappeared again and merged into the void. "Humph! You're lying to yourself." Lin Xian snorted coldly and stood in the void without moving. His clothes fluttered and his black hair danced wildly as he stood there quietly. Suddenly he attacked again. This time it was right in front of them. Boom! Gu Tianqi was blasted out again. This time he was bleeding from the corner of his mouth. Again, he went crazy and turned invisible again. But then, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. When Gu Tianqi was knocked out for the fifth time, the surrounding people looked as if they had seen a ghost. Lin Xian might have been lucky the first time, but how could he explain the subsequent times? Every single time, it was incomparably accurate, blasting the other party out. This was no longer luck. This was a true grasp of the other party's whereabouts. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so accurate. How did this kid do it? Those people were terrified. Look at his eyes. Those golden eyes are too mysterious. It made my soul tremble. Some of the older generation figures were shocked. When the others saw this, they almost fainted. That's right, Lin Xian's eyes were too mysterious and profound. The golden runes formed a complicated pattern, mysterious and unfathomable. It was the heavenly secret divine eye that had detected Gu Tianqi's whereabouts. Lin Xian looked at the crazy Gu Tianqi and sneered. "Stop struggling. My eyes can see through everything. You can't escape from my grasp. Not only can I see your tracks, but I can also see your fate. Today you will lose without a doubt." Lin Xian's voice spread in all directions, making the surrounding people tremble. How powerful and confident must he be to dare to say such words to a genius of the clan of the ancients? Damn it, don't be so arrogant. Do you think I only have the ability to hide in the void? Gu Tianqi was also angry. He still had many trump cards that he hadn't used yet. "Kid, so what if you can find my whereabouts? Let's see how you can hurt me this time." Speaking of this, he grabbed the void spear again and quickly charged forward. In an instant, he was in front of Lin Xian. The void spear in his hand stabbed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian snorted coldly, pulled out the Dragon Abyss ancient sword, and also stabbed at his opponent. The two faced each other head-on. Damn, are these two going to fight to the death? No, Lin Xian's body is so strong. Gu Tianqi is definitely asking for trouble if he fights to the death. Not necessarily. The Gu clan is a clan of the ancients. Gu Tianqi must have other trump cards. Let's wait and see. The crowd discussed. While they were talking, the situation in front of them changed. Jia Tianqi's void spear collided with Lin Xian's body with a thunderous boom. Lin Xian relied on his 9-yang divine body to take the hit. At the same time, his dragon source ancient sword slashed down from the sky towards his opponent. This sword could cut his opponent in half. Whoosh! However, something strange happened. This sword slashed directly into the void, causing no damage to Gu Tianqi at all. What's going on? Why is this happening? The crowd was stunned. Lin Xian also frowned. Gu Tianqi sneered. I told you, kid, you're too arrogant. Do you really think that's all I've got? Now, this is my true strength. I'd like to see how you can hurt me. As he spoke, his void spear attacked again. Each time it was a killing move. Lin Xian would use his fists to fight back. At the same time, the Dragon Abyss Ancient sword stabbed at his opponent again. However, each time it stabbed, it seemed to sink into the void. Gu Tianqi was not hurt at all. What's going on? The surrounding people were all stunned. An expert from the Yi clan slowly spat out a few words with a serious expression. So close yet so far. One of the Gu clan's great powers, space distortion. The two looked very close, but the distance between them was very far. Lin Xian's attack had probably been guided and banished to the endless void of the universe. Gu Tianqi, on the other hand, was able to hurt Lin Xian with his spatial powers. It would be difficult for Lin Xian to hurt him, unless Lin Xian was also proficient in spatial techniques. What? There's such a terrifying divine power. The people around were shocked. So close yet worlds apart. Just the name alone was amazing. For a moment, everyone was talking about it. It seemed that the Central Emperor had really met his match this time. Yes, the previous saints and prodigies were very powerful, but they were not from the remote antiquity families. After all, they were from the great emperor family. These people had the great emperor's blood flowing in their bodies, and they also cultivated the great emperor's techniques and divine powers. Naturally, they were much stronger than ordinary saints and prodigies. Could it be that the Central Emperor was going to be defeated this time? Defeat was not certain. His 9-yang divine body was so powerful, but it was very likely that it would be a draw. No way a draw? This was also very humiliating for him. The crowd discussed. Those from the Gu clan sneered. What draw? The opponent can't hurt our brother Tianqi at all. Our brother Tianqi just needs to increase his attacks, and he'll be able to hurt that kid sooner or later. No matter how strong that kid is, the 9-yang divine body is not invincible. Chapter 2744. Indeed, everyone was silent. The 9-yang divine body was powerful, but it was not invincible. In this world, there was no invincible body. There was no invincible bloodline. Because in history, whether it was the 9-yang divine body, the sacred body, or any other abnormal or heaven-defying bloodline, they had all been killed. Therefore, in this world, anything could happen. No way the Central Emperor was going to be defeated and the title was going to be given away. These people were extremely shocked. Gu Tianqi laughed out loud. Kid, did you hear that? Now kneel down and kowtow to me 10 times. I can spare your life. Otherwise, not only will your title be taken away by me, but it will also be taken away by me. You won't be able to keep your life either. Haha, it's too early for you to be happy. Do you really think I can't hurt you? If I, Lin Xian, want to hurt someone, even the heavens can't stop me, not to mention the distance of a curved space. At this moment, Lin Xian's body erupted with an unparalleled sword aura, which turned into a giant dragon and soared into the sky. In an instant, the loud roar of a dragon sounded from all directions, roaring in the void as if 10,000 dragons were born. The sword stabbed out, and the peerless sword light illuminated the world. It stabbed directly at Gu Tianqi. It's useless. You can't hurt me at all. Gu Tianqi sneered. He had used imminent skyline. How could the other party hurt him? The other party's attack had long been banished into the void. However, just as he finished speaking, his expression changed, and there was even a strong sense of fear in his eyes. No, damn it, this is impossible. I don't believe it. He realized that a sword light was directly attacking him. He had broken his so near, yet worlds apart. With a piu-chi sound, this streak of sword radiance stabbed into his body, piercing through him. Blood dyed the skies red. Ah! Gu Tianqi screamed like a madman. Bang! Gu Tianqi flew backward. The surrounding people were stunned. What's going on? Gu Tianqi was injured? Impossible! The Gu family's martial artists also screamed like crazy. This was too strange. One had to know that this was so close, yet worlds apart. All attacks would be sent into exile. No one could hurt Gu Tianqi. But now, Lin Xian had stabbed out with his sword, directly injuring Gu Tianqi. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Damn it, how did this brat do it? His sword technique. Wasn't this too terrifying? He was actually able to break through so close, yet worlds apart. Cries of surprise could be heard. Lin Xian didn't answer. He laughed coldly and took a step forward. The bone sword in his hand suddenly bloomed, transforming into millions of sword beams that shot out. Damn it, so close, yet worlds apart, banish. Gu Tianqi screamed again. A mysterious folded space formed around him, banishing the sword light and energy. Sword chi filled the sky, slashing into the so close, yet so far, and so close, yet so far and so far. In the next moment, Gu Tianqi was suddenly sent flying. Countless sword wounds appeared on his body, each one stained with blood. For a moment, his body was in tatters. Ah, miserable cries rang out once again. Blood dripped down, turning into a sea of blood that surged in the sky. Impossible, damn it, this is impossible. I don't believe it. Gu Tianqi's face was full of horror. He couldn't believe it. What kind of sword technique was this? You're shocked, aren't you? You're surprised, aren't you? Do you really think you can fight against me? The Gu family is a clan of the ancients. You also cultivate the theurgy of the great emperors. Unfortunately, you're too weak and haven't mastered it at all. You want to run over and show off in front of me? You really don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian's cold voice rang out again, carrying a thick, murderous aura. Gu Tianqi was so angry that he spat out blood. However, what made him even more terrified was that when he started to use his theurgy to heal his injuries, he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was torn to pieces, directly shattering. It was too terrifying. The sword chi that the other party had left in his body had turned into dragons that constantly attacked his body. They wanted to completely destroy him. Damn it, the indestructible sword intent. You actually cultivated the indestructible sword intent. Gu Tianqi screamed in horror. Only now did he realize how terrifying his opponent was. The indestructible sword intent was very difficult to break. The surrounding people were even more terrified. Even the older generation experts looked as if they had seen a ghost. The indestructible sword intent. Heavens, how far has this kid reached in the sword Dao? His swordsmanship was actually so terrifying. Even Gu Tianqi couldn't resist it. Am I witnessing the rise of the Sword Emperor? These people looked at Lin Xian in shock. The experts of the Gu family hurried over to protect Gu Tianqi. They stared at Lin Xian as if they were facing a great enemy. They couldn't help it. Lin Xian was too terrifying. He had even killed the top prodigy of the War Clan, let alone the geniuses of the Gu family. He definitely wouldn't hold back. If he really killed Gu Tianqi, it would be a huge loss for the Gu family. Seeing this, Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, this kind of trash isn't worthy of me killing him. With that, he turned around and ignored Gu Tianqi. Gu Tianqi was so angry that he fainted. He had never been humiliated and looked down upon like this. His lungs were about to explode. Take him away. The experts of the Gu family waved their hands and sealed Gu Tianqi's broken body, then put it into a pagoda. Gu Tianqi was only seriously injured. With their family's nurturing, he would definitely be able to recover. These people looked at Lin Xian with solemn expressions, but no one attacked him again. Because they weren't confident that they could defeat him. If you don't want to die, get lost. Lin Xian's figure flickered, and he became one with his sword. He turned into a piercing sword light and charged forward. Everywhere he passed, everything was destroyed. Dodge quickly. At this moment, everyone ran away crazily. No one dared to stand in front of Lin Xian. Buzz! Lin Xian directly charged to the front, in front of the dragon's spirit fruit. He stared at the one with the most. He reached out his hand and pulled it up by the roots. It also carried an endless aura of the path of dragons. Whoosh! He put it away and wanted to put it into the black earth. However, before he could even put it into the black earth, the dragon's spirit grass that he had grabbed suddenly disappeared. This made Lin Xian jump in fright. Damn it, could it be that an even more terrifying expert had made a move against him? He opened his heavenly secret divine eyes and scanned the surroundings. He found that no one dared to attack him, and he found out the mysterious, small, glazed sword in his body suddenly trembled. It wouldn't come in again, right? Lin Xian knew that there was a magical world inside the mysterious small sword that he couldn't explore. However, this mysterious world seemed to be able to store some things. He had previously put 10,000 bee sting and the like in it. However, in recent years, his strength had increased, and he had become more and more proficient in controlling the Black Earth. Therefore, he put most of his things in the Black Earth. He didn't expect that the world inside the mysterious small sword would take the initiative to absorb things again today. A dragon spirit grass was directly sucked into it. Lin Xian probed with his soul power and breathed a sigh of relief. Sure enough, the dragon spirit grass was growing inside. Great, he had originally wanted to cultivate this dragon spirit grass. It was more suitable to put it in the mysterious small sword. Soon his eyes flickered and he stared at the other few. Chapter 2745. At the same time, Yi Wudao and Yi Wuchen also arrived nearby, eyeing a dragon's spirit grass. The dragon's spirit grass that Lin Xian had obtained had the most fruits. There were a total of 10 fruits on it. The rest of the dragon's spirit grass had about 7 or 8 fruits, while the smallest one had 5 fruits. Go! Everyone's eyes turned red. It was a huge loss for them to lose even one. Now that Lin Xian had taken one, how could they not be heartbroken? What was even more detestable was that Lin Xian was still not leaving and wanted to continue attacking. He was simply too detestable. 9-yang divine body, let me see what you're capable of. A golden figure descended from the sky and approached Lin Xian. His golden palm reached out and grabbed at Lin Xian. His posture was very strong, as if he didn't care about Lin Xian at all. What a powerful golden blood qi. Was it Yi Wudao? Countless people screamed, and even more were excited. Were the 2 titled geniuses finally going to fight? They were too excited. However, someone shook his head. No, it wasn't Yi Wudao. It was another genius from the Yi family. Everyone looked carefully and found that it wasn't Yi Wudao but another genius. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his golden blood qi surged. He was like a golden god of war, and his power was abnormally terrifying. He didn't seem much weaker than Yi Wudao. Who are you? Lin Xian looked at his opponent. He had already obtained a group of dragon spirit grass, so he wasn't in a hurry. Moreover, he had been looking forward to joining the Yi clan for a long time. He really wanted to fight with the Yi clan's experts and geniuses. Although his opponent wasn't Yi Wudao, he seemed to be a top genius. His opponent's qi and blood were very strong. That golden light made him feel apprehensive. I'm Yi Rulong. Today, let me see how powerful your 9-yang divine body is. Can it compete with my Yi family's constitution? Although he didn't have a divine body, he was still a descendant of the great emperor's bloodline. His physique was very strong. In the Yi family, he was even known as a little divine body. One could imagine how terrifying his physique was. Yi Rulong, like his name, was like a dragon, sweeping in all directions. As soon as he appeared, he brought with him a powerful golden radiance that suppressed everything. Just nice. I also want to experience the Yi clan's physique. Come on. Lin Xian also activated his 9-yang divine body. Billions of rays of light bloomed. The 9 suns' divine fire burned fiercely and surrounded him, making him look like a sun war god. Boom! Boom! Their auras collided in the sky, tearing apart the 9 heavens and 10 earths. A terrifying shock wave swept out in all directions. The surrounding people were all sent flying. Even the experts of the older generation and the invincible kings kept retreating, their faces filled with fear. These 2 people were too terrifying. That aura alone was enough to make it seem like only Leaf Daudenier would dare to step forward. So powerful. That person was known as the Little Saint Physique in the Yi family. Who would be stronger between him and Lin Xian? It was hard to say. One of them had a powerful physique, but he had only cultivated for a short time. Although the other's physique wasn't as good as a saint physique he had cultivated for a long time. Therefore, in summary, he really didn't know. Many people retreated into the distance, silently watching the battle. In addition, Leaf Daudenier, Dustless, and the others were fighting crazily with the other invincible kings. Murong Qingcheng, Shen Jingqiu, and the Crimson Dragon joined forces to fight against the surrounding experts. Boom! Yi Rulong punched out, and a terrifying force rolled out like a torrential river. Lin Xian also punched out, shining with resplendent light, shaking the 9 heavens. With the momentum of sweeping through tens of thousands of troops, he charged out. Their fists collided in the sky, producing a thunderous sound. In the world, no one seemed to be able to hear anything else. They couldn't even feel their own heartbeats. After a long time, they realized that their hearts seemed to be beating again. In front of them, after a dazzling light, 2 figures quickly retreated. The space between the 2 of them shattered, and a huge black hole appeared, swallowing everything. Not bad, you can actually force me back. Interesting. Lin Xian took 3 steps back and stopped. On the opposite side, Yi Rulong took 9 steps back, and his face became gloomy. His opponent's physique was so strong that it made him feel like he was facing Leaf Daudenier. Impossible. This kid can't be as terrifying as Daudenier. With my current strength, I can definitely defeat him. Yi Rulong roared, and the power of bloodline instantly spread throughout his body. Kill. He attacked again. Fine, I'll play with you. Lin Xian also laughed and waved the 9-yang divine body, resisting with the strength of his physical body. The 2 of them fought in close combat, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. After exchanging more than 300 moves, the sun and moon dimmed and the rivers reversed. The entire sky seemed to be overturned by the 2 of them. Refreshing. This was simply too refreshing. Lin Xian laughed out loud. Indeed, ever since his 9-yang divine body had reached the 2nd layer of the 9-yang divine body, no one had been able to fight him in close combat for so long. Therefore, he had always been helpless. He had always wanted to see how powerful the 9-yang divine body was. Now he finally got what he wanted. Although his opponent wasn't Leaf Daudenier, his opponent's physique was indeed very strong, and he could withstand 300 moves. Damn it! On the other side, Yi Rulong's face was full of horror. After 300 moves, he was suppressed by his opponent and was at a disadvantage. If it wasn't for the power of bloodline, he wouldn't have been able to withstand it. Even now, his hands were completely numb, and he couldn't feel anything. The blood in his body was tumbling. He had received internal injuries, and if he hadn't suppressed them, he didn't know how much blood he would have spat out. Was this the 9-yang divine body? Was this the Central Emperor Lin Xian? How terrifying! You're very strong. I admit, I'm not as good as you in close combat. Yi Rulong took a deep breath and didn't attack again. Indeed, it was futile to continue fighting. His opponent's physique was indeed stronger than his. He had to admit that. When these words came out, the surrounding people were in an uproar. The Yi family's experts were also shocked. What? Even Yi Rulong lost to his opponent? In terms of close combat, Leaf Dowdenier was the only one who could possibly compete with Yang Qi. However, in the sky, Yi Rulong spoke again. However, it won't be that easy to defeat me. Apart from close combat, I have many other methods. You have to be careful next. Indeed, the Yi family was also an emperor family and a clan of the ancients. How many tens of thousands of years had they passed down? How could they not have other divine abilities? Close combat physique was only their foundation. They had plenty of other tricks up their sleeves. Thunder Eagle Claw. Yi Rulong's 5 fingers formed a claw and clawed down. Bolts of lightning appeared in his hand, and each bolt was like a giant dragon roaring in the sky. They pierced through the void and grabbed at Lin Xian. Between heaven and earth, the sound of thunder surged, and a sea of lightning spread, enveloping Lin Xian. This was a terrifying divine ability, and its power was terrifying. Coupled with Yi Rulong's strength, its power was boundless. Chapter 2746. The expressions of the surrounding seniors changed. Even the invincible kings had gloomy looks in their eyes. It was obvious that this move could still threaten them. Heavenly Battle Divine Fist. Lin Xian waved his fists with an indomitable aura, causing explosions in all directions. With a boom, those lightning bolts were directly destroyed. Too powerful. Lin Xian's physique was too strong. The surrounding people exclaimed. Yi Rulong sneered as a strange smile appeared on his face. The Thunder Eagle Claw was not only known for its powerful attack power, its effect was also in other areas. Just wait. Next, these people would know how powerful he was. Sure enough, not long after, Lin Xian frowned, because he realized that the lightning had entered his body and was constantly destroying it. The effect was very similar to his great dragon sword spirit. However, after looking at it carefully, there was still a difference. As expected of the Yi family, they actually had such a terrifying ability. Lin Xian was surprised. He felt that his body was numb. These lightning bolts actually had a paralyzing effect. Sure enough, Lin Xian's speed and strength had decreased by a lot. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were puzzled. Yi Rulong laughed loudly. Did you see that? This is my Yi family's ability. You've been paralyzed by my lightning. It's impossible for you to recover in a short time. Therefore, you've lost this battle. Yi Rulong took advantage of his victory to pursue and attack, quickly killing his way over. Have I lost? Lin Xian shook his head. The great dragon sword spirit in his body surged out and destroyed all the lightning bolts. He instantly recovered and his speed increased again, instantly dodging the opponent's attack. He dodged? How was that possible? Yi Rulong was very surprised. His lightning paralysis was very terrifying. Even invincible kings would not be able to recover in a short time. After all, this was not an ordinary lightning bolt. However, the other party actually recovered in an instant. How did he do it? Lin Xian held the ancient dragon sword, and the sword qi on his body expanded. Next, I'll let you see my sword skills. The ancient dragon abyss sword was waved, bringing with it thousands of dragon aura. It turned into a curtain in the sky and pressed down. This power was too terrifying. It could destroy everything. Yi Rulong's expression changed in an instant because this sword strike could completely threaten him. He let out a furious roar and fully unleashed the power of his bloodline. Then he took out a golden hammer and smashed it upward. With a loud boom, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. He shattered countless sword qis, but even more sword qis came at him. They were densely packed and shrouded him. There was a heaven overflowing and world destroying aura in front of them. No one dared to advance. Everyone was incomparably terrified. What kind of sword was this? They would probably never forget this scene for the rest of their lives. The warriors of the Yi family were also pale. Damn it. Yi Rulong couldn't have been killed by the other party's sword, right? When they thought of this, their expressions turned gloomy. In front of him, the sword chi that filled the sky gradually disappeared. Yi Rulong floated in the sky, his face pale. Blood flowed from his body, dyeing the sky red. There was not a single spot on his body that was unharmed. Every part of his body was covered with sword marks. But fortunately, these sword marks weren't deep and didn't injure his foundation. Yi Rulong's body trembled. He raised his head and looked deeply at Lin Xian. He thanked Lin Gongzi for showing mercy. After saying this, he fell into the sky with a plop and was protected by the experts of the Yi family. He really should thank Lin Xian because Lin Xian didn't want to kill him. He only injured him. Otherwise, the 10,000 sharp sword chi just now would have killed Yi Rulong several times over. The experts of the Yi family also took a deep breath with solemn expressions. Lin Xian's strength was really a headache for them. But fortunately, they had Yi Wudao. As for who was stronger between Yi Wudao and Lin Xian, they didn't know. After all, at the level of the two of them, they couldn't just deduce it. Perhaps the two of them would have to fight for real to determine the victor. After defeating Yi Rulong, Lin Xian joined the Crimson Dragon's group. Then they snatched another dragon's spirit grass. Then they retreated into the distance. They had already obtained 2, so there was no need to make a move. Otherwise, if they made a move again, they would probably be surrounded by others. As expected, many people stared at Lin Xian with gloomy expressions. There were many invincible kings among them. However, they didn't make a move in the end. Firstly, Lin Xian was too strong. Secondly, Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu were beside Lin Xian. It could be said that the 3 holy lands had worked together to obtain it. If they made a move, not only would they offend Lin Xian, but they would also offend the Jade Lake Holy Land and Purple Dawn Holy Land. It wasn't worth it. Lin Xian directly asked Murong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu, and Crimson Dragon to split the second dragon's spirit grass. He didn't take it himself, because he already had 10 in his hands. He took out 2 and gave them to the Snow White Monkey. He would deal with the other 8 when he returned. Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu carefully put away the dragon's spirit fruits. The Snow White Monkey and the Crimson Dragon ate them directly. It was no different from eating candy. The surrounding people were envious. Sigh, humans are worse than a snake. What kind of world is this? An invincible king shook his head helplessly. The remaining 2 dragon spirit grasses were obtained by Yi Wudao and Wuchen. The last one was broken up and obtained by Wu Hua, the great Xia prince, and the others. The other saints, geniuses, and invincible kings didn't even get a single strand. They had no choice but to absorb the surrounding dragon energy to fill their hearts. Let's go. Lin Xian and the others had a great harvest and were ready to continue forward. However, just as they were about to leave, endless dragon energy rolled under their feet, and mysterious patterns appeared on the ground. A peerless array appeared under their feet. Not good, there's a change, retreat. These people's expressions changed drastically. Lin Xian even led Murong Qingqing and the others to retreat frantically. However, it was still too late. The entire array enveloped everything. Damn it! Everyone was enveloped by the array and attacked crazily. However, they couldn't break it at all. Who was it? Who made a move? Was it the mechanism array in the nest of 10,000 dragons? Everyone exclaimed. There were also older powerhouses who shouted coldly. Don't panic. Everyone gathered together and worked together to break it. They quickly gathered together. Lin Xian frowned, and mysterious runes appeared in his eyes. How is it? Brother Lin, what did you find? Yi Wudao and the others asked. Lin Xian looked ahead and said in a deep voice, something was about to come out. Indeed, beside him, a young man in blue slowly nodded. He was the Taishan saint. His eyes were also shining incomparably. Astral eyes, many people exclaimed. Previously, the Taishan Saint Master had used this eye technique before. They didn't expect the Taishan Saint Master to have also cultivated the astral eyes. Hearing the two of them, everyone looked ahead. Chapter 2747. In the center of the array formation, a figure slowly appeared. Everyone was extremely nervous, and their hearts were in their throats. Damn it! What could be that thing that appeared in the nest of 10,000 dragons? A dragon corpse? Or some other puppet monster? In short, it was definitely not simple. As the figure rose, a powerful aura shook the world and swept across the surroundings. However, when the surrounding people saw this scene, their faces were filled with astonishment. It was as if they had seen a ghost. That was because what rose up was neither a human nor a dragon. Instead, it was a shield, a broken shield. It was very ancient and shabby. If it weren't for the destructive aura it emitted, no one would even take a look at it if it was thrown into the garbage dump. What's going on? Everyone was extremely puzzled. Lin Xian also frowned. That extremely frightening pressure from the other party did not seem to be fake. Damn it! Could it be a broken sacred artifact? The Crimson Dragon screamed and stared at the broken shield. The others also exclaimed. It was very likely. Such a terrifying pressure could only be emitted by a sacred artifact. Moreover, looking at how broken the other party was, it must have existed for countless years. To be able to leave it behind, it must be a sacred artifact. This nest of 10,000 dragons was indeed terrifying. There were even sacred artifacts. Who dares to disturb my cultivation? A cold voice came from the mouth of the shield in front, and everyone below trembled. Damn it, this shield can actually speak. It was said that sacred artifacts would nurture and form artifact spirits. Could it be that the artifact spirit of this shield spoke? The eyes of some older powerhouses flickered. The people of the Gu family and the Yi family also had solemn expressions because they had intact sacred artifacts in their families. There would be artifact spirits in sacred artifacts, so these disciples of the clan of the ancients were no strangers to this. The other saints were the same. After all, these people came from the top sacred grounds, and those sacred grounds all had intact sacred artifacts in their hands. Once the artifact spirit of the sacred artifact was enraged, it would even take the initiative to attack. There was no need for human control at all. This was also why saint-level weapons surpassed everything and were so terrifying. Thus, at that moment, the crowd did not dare to be careless in the face of that damaged saint's weapon. After all, the other party had an artifact spirit. If the artifact spirit took the initiative to attack them, it would be difficult for them to resist. It's over. Our sect master, the Holy Master, is still too weak. I didn't expect there to be such a terrifying, holy artifact here. Forget it. It's better to lower our heads in front of the sacred artifact. I don't think it will make things difficult for us. After all, he is also intelligent. Our sacred leader is right in front of him, so he shouldn't dare to act recklessly. The experts from the sacred grounds and sects discussed fervently. The broken shield emitted a soul-like aura that swept the surroundings. When he looked in another direction, he suddenly froze and carefully examined it. Then she screamed, F***K. What the F***CK? Why is the dragon's spirit grass that I've been growing for countless years gone? Who took it? Hand it over to me now. Everyone was stunned. What were they seeing? The artifact spirit in front of him was actually cursing and swearing, looking flustered and exasperated. F***CK. Why do I feel like he's a hooligan? It turned out that the solemn and heavy aura had disappeared, which made everyone dumbfounded. However, these people were soon stunned. What did that mean? From his tone, it seemed that he was the one who planted the dragon's spirit grass. No way, their scalps went numb. Lin Xian also frowned and glanced at the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon also had a solemn expression. Previously, the two of them were still puzzled. The nest of 10,000 dragons had existed for countless years. But why did the dragon's spirit grass inside only look like it was 5,000 to 6,000 years old? Now, it seemed that they had found the reason. It turned out that there was a broken artifact spirit. Could it be that all the dragon's spirit fruits that had grown before had been eaten by him? As expected, the artifact spirit in front of the broken shield screamed crazily. Damn it, it's been 6,000 years. I've waited for 6,000 years. There's still 4,000 years left. I can finally taste a 10,000-year-old dragon spirit fruit. Who was it that destroyed all of them? Step forward. I promise to beat him to death. He was really mad. The powerful and destructive power burst out from his body, causing everyone to tremble again. They crawled on the ground. They had no choice. Although the other party looked like a hooligan, his aura was too terrifying. It was impossible to resist. These people all looked at Lin Xian, Yi Wu Dao, Wu Qin, and Morong Qingqing. That was because these dragon spirit fruits had been obtained by them long ago. The last one had been destroyed. There were a total of 7 dragon spirit fruits, which were taken by Wu Hua, the Prince of Great Xia, and a few invincible kings. Therefore, these people's expressions were ugly, especially Lin Xian and the others, who were facing a formidable enemy. That was because he realized that the other party's spirit seemed to have enveloped them. As expected, the broken shield in front of them said coldly, "Damn it, I can feel the aura of the dragon's spirit fruit. It's on you. Hand it over obediently." An incomparably vast aura pressed down. Even the saints' faces were solemn. One by one, they activated their king domains to resist. The Crimson Dragon was also anxious. "Damn it! How dare you snatch Ben Huang's food? Damn it! You're an artifact spirit." Ben Huang has already eaten the dragon spirit nation. What's wrong? Hit me. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and trembled. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth twitched. Damn it! What is this Roussillon doing? The broken shield in front of them was also stunned. The pressure on his body shook and locked onto the Crimson Dragon. How dare a small snake be so arrogant in front of me? Do you know what kind of existence I am? Back in the day, I was a supreme existence who swept across the world and suppressed the world. Buffed! You're just a broken shield. What's so great about you? Besides, you're the snake. Your whole family are snakes. The Crimson Dragon stomped his feet in anger. How dare the other party threaten him? How despicable. Give me another dragon spirit fruit. I'm going to eat it in front of everyone and piss him off. The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. There was nothing he could do. He was an old monster who was always arrogant. Now, someone who was even more arrogant than him had jumped out. How could the Crimson Dragon tolerate this? Lin Xian rolled his eyes helplessly. Of course, he would not give the Crimson Dragon a chance to anger the other party. However, it seemed that the Crimson Dragon had already angered the other party. It seems that I have to let you know how powerful I am. The broken shield shuddered slightly as a terrifying aura swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Everyone trembled. Everyone retreated frantically. The Crimson Dragon naturally felt the pressure as well. Roar! His body swayed and turned into a divine dragon that was 100 feet long. With a roar, the aura of the dragon surged between heaven and earth, forming a terrifying light that blocked in front of him. Ben Huang is here. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Chapter 2748. He was a dragon, so he could naturally mobilize the Dragon Dao aura. Seeing this scene, the shield in front was also stunned. He didn't expect that a snake could mobilize the Dragon Dao aura so easily. It was really surprising. He stared at the Crimson Dragon. Suddenly he screamed, F***CK. You're not a snake, you're a dragon. Dragons were the divine beasts of heaven and earth, the leader of all demons. They were extremely terrifying. However, no one knew if dragons really existed. Even though they were in the nest of 10,000 dragons, they didn't see a single dragon corpse. Perhaps they would be able to see it in the depths. This made them both excited and shocked. But now the broken artifact spirit in front of them actually said that the dark red snake near them was a dragon. It was hard for them to believe. However, when they looked ahead, their faces were filled with shock, because at this moment the crimson dragon wasn't a snake. Instead, it had transformed into 1,000 feet long and was majestic. Its body was emitting a terrifying aura, and it attracted the dragon Tao aura of the 9 heavens and 10 earths. This scene was similar to that of a dragon. However, they still didn't quite believe that the other party was a dragon. Perhaps it was related to dragons, such as flood dragons or something like that. After all, how many years had it been since a real dragon had appeared in the world? There was only the nest of 10,000 dragons. The crimson dragon roared. That's right, Ben Huang is a dragon. Come and bite me. His voice roared into the 9 heavens, causing everyone's scalps to go numb. What? He really is a dragon. There was a dragon following Lin Xian. No wonder this kid was so terrifying. These people were all stunned. They didn't expect the crimson dragon to really be a dragon. The news was so shocking that even Leaf, Dowdenier, Dustless, and the other invincible kings were completely flabbergasted. This was a real dragon. Lin Xian's gaze was gloomy. He asked via voice transmission, "Rizalong, is it okay to expose your identity?" The crimson dragon said, "Don't worry, we'll be exposed sooner or later. Even if we don't say it now, we'll be recognized when we enter the depths of the nest of 10,000 dragons and snatch the treasures of the dragons." So it didn't matter. Indeed, the crimson dragon knew that his identity would be exposed. However, he didn't care, as long as he could obtain the treasures in the nest of 10,000 dragons and grow up. So what if these people knew that he was a dragon? All right then. Lin Xian nodded. Since the other party had made up his mind, he wouldn't stop him. They just watched quietly from the side. He wanted to see what this broken shield of a saint was trying to do. The artifact spirit within the saint's shield was shocked. "You are a dragon and not a dragon from the nest of 10,000 dragons. Which branch are you from?" He was simply too shocked, because back then he was the weapon of a certain dragon race expert. After being shattered, he was buried here and slowly recovered. Therefore, he had a better understanding of the dragon clan. However, were there any dragons in this world other than the nest of 10,000 dragons? He really didn't know. You're still too young to know about Ben Huang's background. Broken Shield, scram. If you dare to seal us again, be careful that Ben Huang will destroy your true body. The crimson dragon roared, shaking the 9 heavens. The others also had solemn expressions. Indeed, even if the crimson dragon was a dragon now, so what? They couldn't care so much anymore. They were sealed by a peerless array formation, and they had to work together to break it. For a moment, countless people looked at the crimson dragon. Since the other party was a dragon, he should be extremely familiar with the nest of 10,000 dragons. Therefore, they placed their hopes on this. "Kid, let's work together and suppress this broken shield." The crimson dragon stared at the other party. He waved his dragon claws and spat out a few saint fragments. Lin Xian also flew over and came to his side. "This is for you. Maybe you'll like it." He gave the flood dragon scissors to the crimson dragon. After the crimson dragon saw it, he immediately grinned. Flood dragon scissors, a half-step sacred artifact. "Haha, kid, you're really interesting." He was too excited. With a wave of his hand, the flood dragon's scissors appeared in his hand, forming 2 other flood dragons that were 1,000 feet long. They were for him to use. Come. Ben Huang will fight you for 300 rounds. The crimson dragon was very arrogant. Looking ahead, Lin Xian also took out a half-step sacred artifact, and the 9-story pagoda floated in front of him. At the same time, he transmitted his voice to Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, the prince of the Great Xia dynasty, and the others. Let's attack together. Okay. These people nodded and also stepped forward. Facing the broken saint artifact and the artifact spirit, they didn't have any carelessness and sent out their own treasures. Among them, there were many saint fragments and even a few half-step sacred artifacts. For a moment, the sky shook rapidly, unable to withstand this power. Damn, don't mess around. The artifact spirit's expression changed. He didn't expect these people to have so many treasures in their hands. Mess around? We're messing around. What can you do to me? The Crimson Dragon roared and used the Flood Dragon scissors. He was the first to attack. Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others also attacked. Boom! Boom! Terrifying energy flooded the front. In an instant, the array formation below was destroyed. After all, when these people attacked together, coupled with the power of the saint fragments and half-step sacred artifacts, it was really terrifying. Nothing could withstand it. The array formation was torn to pieces, and the broken shield also let out a miserable cry. However, in the next moment, his body suddenly shone brightly and suddenly enlarged, turning into a dragon turtle that blocked in front of him. With a boom, all the energy blasted on the dragon turtle's shell, shaking the heavens and the earth. However, it didn't break through the shield. When all the light disappeared, the dragon turtle in the sky bared its teeth and transformed into a shield again. Damn it! How dare you make me suffer such a big loss? Just you wait. He screamed and ran away quickly. Dragon turtle, is that guy a dragon turtle? It should be a shield made from the dragon turtle's shell. Many of the older generation people were discussing. The Crimson Dragon roared. Hurry up and chase. Don't let him escape. Catch him. He knows the secret of this place. Yes, that's right. After being reminded, everyone charged over. The Crimson Dragon flew quickly with Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu, and the warriors of Immortal Palace. Everyone covered the sky and the earth. They flew forward. Gradually, they arrived at the edge of the area. This was already the border. If they continued forward, they would be in an unknown danger zone. Should they continue to chase? Some of the powerhouses from the sacred lands looked ahead and frowned. Who cares? Hurry up and chase. Our leaders are just ahead. We have to inform them. Those people chased after them as if they had gone mad. Lin Xian and the others didn't stop either. They quickly left the safe area and arrived at the area where they were supposed to be. They were deeper in the area, and they hadn't been explored by the leaders of the sacred lands. In other words, there could be danger at any time. Moreover, it was a danger that was beyond their control. Sure enough, not long after they flew out, the broken shield in front of them had already disappeared. There were all kinds of strange-looking mountain ranges around them. Damn it, there were mountain ranges underground. Those should be dragon veins, right? Those people were puzzled. Chapter 2749. This underground didn't seem to be a lair but a real world. The continuous mountain range was like a giant dragon circling above the ground. Many martial artists from the Holy Lands looked at the people from the Tuoba family. Everyone, can you see where that guy went? Also, is this place dangerous? Right now, they could only rely on the Seeker Spirit Masters. The Tuoba family, Nangong family, and Ouyang family, the three great Seeker Spirit Master families, became the center of everyone's attention. After all, the other party's spirit-seeking technique could detect spirit veins, so it might be able to solve the current situation. The disciples of the three great Seeker Spirit Master families were extremely excited. They were very proud to be watched by so many people. Did you see that? This was the status of the Seeker Spirit Master families. Regardless of whether it was a holy land or an ancient family, at the most critical moment, they still had to rely on them. This feeling of being respected by so many people made them feel very good. Many older generation powerhouses walked out from the three great families. These people had all reached the Earth Spirit Master Realm. At this moment, these people walked out. Their eyes were like divine lamps, emitting mysterious runes that swept across the ground below. They began to deduce. Under their hands, strange runes flickered and formed various combinations. The surrounding saints, geniuses, and powerhouses waited silently. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He activated his heavenly secret divine eye and scanned around, but he didn't find any traces of the shield. However, he looked down. He felt that the mountain range below really didn't look like mountains, but sleeping dragons that emitted terrifying auras. This place was really strange. He couldn't see through it. Lin Xian shook his head. Even if he had the heavenly secret divine eye, he couldn't see everything clearly. The Crimson Dragon said, "That's for sure. Although the nest of 10,000 dragons wasn't considered a forbidden area, one could imagine the place where 10,000 dragons were buried. How could it be simple? It was better to be careful." Lin Xian nodded and sent a voice transmission to the martial artists of Immortal Palace, telling them not to act rashly and to listen to his orders. These martial artists of Immortal Palace naturally obeyed. At the same time, he also reminded Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu to take care of their subordinates. After all, this place was mysterious and extremely dangerous. The slightest carelessness might cause one to fall into eternal damnation. In Murong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu nodded and transmitted a message to her subordinates. The Seeker Spirit Masters at the front quickly inquired while the surrounding strong cultivators waited silently. Not long after, the Seeker Spirit Masters withdrew their palms. "How is it, everyone? What's the situation?" The elders of the Gu family, the Yi family, and the other great sects all walked up and quickly inquired. An old man from the Mophead family trembled with excitement. Incredible, truly incredible. This was truly a wonderland. With so many dragon veins, if he could cultivate here for a year or so, it would be comparable to hundreds of years of cultivation outside. What? When the surrounding martial artists heard these words, their faces were filled with shock. 1 year was equivalent to several hundred years in the outside world. If he cultivated here for 100 years, wouldn't he become a saint right away? They were extremely envious. The elder of the Nangong family spoke up as well. That's right. This was definitely a boundless amount of treasures. The things below were all dragon veins. Would it be dangerous? The expert from the Yi family asked. An elder of the Ouyang family. He nodded. There was still danger. The 7 veins of the 9 dragons. Not every dragon vein could be absorbed and used. Among them, out of every 9 dragon veins, there were 2 that couldn't be touched. Otherwise, it would be dangerous. As he spoke, he pointed downwards. Soon, many dragon veins were marked, flickering with light. These dragon veins couldn't be touched, and the others shouldn't be dangerous. Is that true? Does that mean we can go down and search and cultivate now? The Tuoba family's martial artists behind him were excited. The martial artists of the other great sects were also excited. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Even if they couldn't cultivate for a year or 2, it shouldn't be a problem for them to cultivate for a few days. This was enough to withstand a few years of cultivation in the outside world. If they could improve a little here and surpass their peers, they would be able to continue singing. Therefore, these people couldn't wait any longer. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Although he believed in the words of the 3 great Seeker Spirit Master families, he didn't believe them 100%. He looked at the Crimson Dragon and Rusalong. Were the words of those old guys reliable? He had used the heavenly secret divine eye to investigate. Indeed, the marked dragon veins had an aura that made him feel apprehensive. It was obvious that they couldn't be touched easily, more or less. The Crimson Dragon's eyes flickered. I don't know much about dragon seeking and pulse fixing. However, with my attainments in array formations, those old guys are right. Those dragon veins really can't be touched. But boy, be careful. I have a feeling that it's not that simple. After all, although I don't know how to dragon seeking and pulse fixing, I have the inheritance of the dragon clan. Although I haven't fully digested it, the information I have tells me that this place is definitely not as simple as it seems. It's better not to be greedy. Hearing this, Lin Xian, Morong Qing Qing, Shan Jingqiu, Peacock, Hu Yidao, and the others were all surprised. After all, they knew how greedy the dark red divine dragon was. When they saw a treasure, they couldn't help but pounce on it and snatch it away. But now the other party actually said that they shouldn't be greedy. One could imagine how terrifying this area was. All right, let's be careful and go down slowly. Find a dragon vein that isn't dangerous. Inquire about it, Lin Xian said. Then the group of people quickly flew down. The others didn't care so much. They firmly believed in the Seeker Spirit Master clans, especially the elders of these Seeker Spirit Master clans. How could the results of the investigation be wrong when the Earth Spirit Masters of the three great clans worked together? They couldn't wait and all flew down to avoid those dangerous dragon veins. Among them, the most excited, they were the people of the four great empires. They had been cultivating the imperial dragon chi to begin with. At this moment, these dragon veins, to them, it could be said to be the best treasure. Their absorption methods and efficiency far exceeded that of the warriors of the other sacred lands. For a time, the people of the four great empires quickly occupied the dragon veins. But fortunately, there were many dragon veins here, other than the largest few that were fighting. The rest were trying their best to collect as much as possible to avoid conflicts. Now, the most precious thing was time. Lin Xian and the others also picked a dragon vein and slowly descended. It wasn't the largest dragon vein, so they didn't want to take too much risk. Everyone can just absorb it here, Lin Xian said. He activated the great dragon sword soul and absorbed the surrounding dragon vein aura. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Not long after, there were balls of light floating in the distance. They were very dazzling in the sky. Everyone raised their heads to look at him. Chapter 2750. What were those things? Stars? No, they weren't stars. Divine crystals. Someone exclaimed. What? Divine crystals? You're saying that all those floating things are divine crystals? Everyone was stunned. The countless rays of light that filled the sky were actually divine crystals. Oh heavens! They felt like they were about to faint from happiness. Divine crystals were extremely rare in the outside world. Even the saints, saintesses, and prodigies didn't have many of them. This was because most of these things were cut out from ancient stones. But right now, the twinkling dots of light in front of him were as dense as the stars in the sky. They were all divine crystals. They didn't dare to imagine how many there were. Hurry up and snatch them! Hurry up and snatch them! One person screamed crazily, attracting the attention of the others. In an instant, all kinds of palm lights covered the sky and covered the earth. Get lost! In the sky, a large black millstone appeared and crushed many of the palms. Blood flowed wildly. You're courting death. How dare you snatch the things that the Yi family wants? The Yi family's experts waved their fists, shattering the void in all directions. The Gu family's experts used void techniques to quickly snatch the divine crystals. Lin Xian's side was also extremely shocked. The Immortal Palace's cultivators were even more shocked. That's great, they're going to be rich. However, Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He said to the people behind him, don't act rashly. Ruslan, don't move either. Something's not right. Indeed, the Crimson Dragon's expression was extremely serious, because they realized that the divine crystals in the sky were quickly flying into the distance. Chase, don't let them get away. Those people's eyes were red as they chased after them like crazy. Stop, don't go. Gu, Santong, Yi Wu Dao, and the others roared, wanting to stop them. They felt that the situation was a little strange. Even so, the Yi and Gu family's disciples were red-eyed at this moment. Of course, there were also some who were called back by Leaf Daudenier and the others. There were even more cultivators from the other holy lands and great sects. In an instant, everyone chased after them like crazy. Ha ha ha, great. These divine crystals are all mine. An expert laughed maniacally as he was surrounded by hundreds of deity crystals. On the other side, a prince of the Tai dynasty was overjoyed. He also stretched out a hand that was wrapped in countless divine crystals. The Yin-Yang sect, the Five Elements Palace, the Grand Development Holy Land, and the All Beginnings Holy Lands experts and skyprides were all madly attacking. But gradually, they flew further and further away. Suddenly, beams of divine light shot up from below, illuminating the entire sky. Those martial artists and geniuses who were madly competing for the treasures let out miserable cries. Their bodies were mercilessly pierced through by the divine light. Damn it, get lost! These experts roared one after another. There were quite a few of them, and all of them were extremely powerful. There were even a few invincible kings among them. In his fury, he attacked the divine light. Boom! Boom! A world-shaking sound rang out. Those divine lights trembled, but they didn't disappear. Instead, they increased in number. They intertwined in the sky, forming a terrifying formation of light that enveloped everyone. Saint, save me! Elder, please save me! In the distance, those people screamed crazily. Their companions and martial artists around them kept exploding. Fresh blood dyed the sky red. The expressions of those who stayed in the distance also changed. There was indeed a problem. Go! The elders of the Holy Land's major sects roared as they went to help. They couldn't just sit back and watch. Saint fragments were taken out one by one. There were even half-sage artifacts that were used to destroy a part of the world. However, the formation this time was extremely powerful. It couldn't be broken at all. More and more martial artists inside died. Damn it, stop! An elder of the Yin-Yang sect screamed crazily. Many of their sky prides were directly killed. The Nine Heavens Holy Land's side also roared crazily. Their saint was also inside. He had been directly killed. Not only the Nine Heavens Holy Land, but the saints and saintesses of several major sects were also mercilessly killed. This was definitely a world-destroying formation that mercilessly reaped the lives of everyone. The martial artists of the Immortal Palace were dumbfounded. Fortunately, their temple master didn't ask them to take action. Otherwise, they would have been killed long ago. The disciples of the Purple Dawn Holy Land and Jade Lake Holy Land were also trembling. Previously, when Lin Xian didn't let them go, they were dissatisfied, thinking that their saintesses were too obedient. But now it seemed that this guy was their savior. They were deeply grateful because the other party had saved their lives. Yi Wu Dao Wuchen and the others were also ready to take action. After all, many of their disciples were also inside. However, just as they were about to fly out, their expressions changed, because the ground under their feet was trembling rapidly and cracking. Beams of divine light shot into the sky and intertwined in the sky. Oh no, we have a formation here too. Run. These people's expressions changed. They had seen how terrifying the formation in the distance was. It would be difficult for them to resist it. But why was there such a peerless killing formation under their feet? For a moment, they all fled. Many people stared at the Toba family and the other two major families and roared crazily. Damn it, didn't you say that there was no danger here? At this moment, the disciples of the three major families were also dumbfounded and trembling, because many of them had been pierced by the divine light. The elders' faces were also trembling. They had been careless and misjudged. They couldn't explain it at all. Previously, they were still proud of themselves, thinking that they had discovered a paradise. Who would have thought that this was not a paradise, but a land of destruction? It was extremely dangerous. If they were careless, they would be killed. Run! These seeker spirit masters and elders were also frantically fleeing. Damn it, we've been tricked. The powerhouses and prodigies of the other sacred lands and sects had dark expressions. They had trusted and respected the other party, but they did not expect that the other party had misjudged them. He had brought them to such a dangerous place. Let's go. Lin Xian and the others did not dare to delay and quickly left. Lin Xian activated the dragon's sword domain and enveloped them. At the same time, they took out the sage fragment. Murong Qing Cheng, Shun Jingqiu, and the others also attacked. Everyone used their full strength, not daring to be careless. In the sky, more and more divine light intertwined, gradually forming a formation that began to press down. Everywhere it passed, everything was destroyed. Damn it, it's too terrifying. What kind of formation is this? How could it be so terrifying? Screams sounded one after another. The martial artists of the seeker families were crying and wailing. The crimson dragon waved its dragon scissors and killed in all directions. At the same time, his expression changed. Oh no, I misjudged. We all saw it. This place is much more terrifying than we imagined. The nest of 10,000 dragons is not that simple. Chapter 27:51. Indeed, the nest of 10,000 dragons wasn't that simple. In the sky, a terrifying array diagram descended, and everyone faced a peerless pressure. Everyone fled crazily. In the end, they escaped from this area. Everyone's faces were pale, and their bodies were injured. Even Lin Xian and Yi Wudao's bodies were damaged and cracked. One could imagine what kind of impact the others had suffered. Everyone raised their heads and looked into the distance. The apocalyptic array diagram was still in effect, and the sky was filled with blood. Half of them had lost their lives here. This caused everyone to tremble and tremble. It was too terrifying, too despairing. When they explored the saint's tomb previously, there weren't such terrifying casualties. One had to know that this wasn't the deepest part of the nest of 10,000 dragons. They had only entered for a short while, but half of them had already died. If they continued forward, what terrifying dangers would await them? They didn't know. Half of them had died. How many saints, geniuses, and princes had died inside? There were countless peerless, mighty figures. There were even many invincible kings. However, they did manage to escape and were directly killed by the apocalyptic array diagram. Even their souls were destroyed. It could be said that they no longer existed. The sky in the distance was blood red. It was abnormally terrifying. Those who survived, Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the other top geniuses had ugly expressions. Those powerhouses had solemn expressions. There were also some people who had a mental breakdown. They shouted crazily, wanting to go back, but they couldn't find their way back at all. The surrounding mountains were like giant dragons lying down, emitting a mysterious aura as if they were going to devour them. We shouldn't have come. We shouldn't have come. An elder of the Ouyang family shook his head repeatedly. This is the burial ground of the dragon race. It has endless legends. People like us shouldn't have come here at all. The elders of the Mophead family and the Nangong family also had ugly expressions. Previously, due to their carelessness, many people had died. Most of their disciples were inside. What should we do now? An elder of the Tao, One Holy Land, asked in a deep voice. The others looked at each other. They didn't know what to do at all. In fact, they couldn't even find where their sect leader was now. Damn it, hurry up and send a message. These people still had many secret techniques in their hands. They passed on the information one after another, taking out formation diagrams one after another, laying them out. Everyone tried to pass on the message, but there was no response. Lin Xian also sent a message to Li Xuanxian, the chief enforcer, and the others, but he did not receive any response. What's going on? Did the news not spread, or did those people encounter something? They don't know now. Forget it, we can only rely on ourselves. Lin Xian put away the disc array and took a deep breath. A golden light appeared in his eyes. The crimson dragon at the side also said, "Don't scream. Let Ben Huang see if there's a way out." The people from the Tuoba family harumphed coldly, and their faces darkened. Their elders also stepped forward. He scouted the surroundings. The others paid attention again. There was no other way. They could only rely on the 3 Seeker Spirit Master clans. However, in their hearts, they were still not 100% convinced. The gazes of the 3 Seeker Spirit Master clans were solemn as they searched the 4 directions. This time, they were even more cautious. After much discussion, they decided on a direction. "Let's head in that direction," an elder of the Tuoba family said in a deep voice. The others were suspicious. "Is there no danger this time? Elder, are you sure you didn't see wrongly again? Elder, why don't you calculate it again?" The martial artists of the other sacred grounds and sects were discussing. Even the martial artists of the 3 Seeker Spirit Master clans were whispering. This scene made the elder of the Tuoba family vomit blood in anger. They had no choice but to calculate it again and found that it was still the same direction. This time, the others had no choice but to follow. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon looked at each other and communicated through voice transmission. "How is it? More or less? I don't think there's much danger in that direction. My heavenly secret divine, I didn't detect anything either." Lin Xian shook his head. This place was too scary. With their current knowledge and ability, they could not deduce anything at all. Therefore, they decided to take a look. After all, they still had to leave. Lin Xian transmitted his voice to Murong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu, telling them to follow closely. He also transmitted his voice to Yi, Wu Dao, Gu Santong, and the others, telling them to be careful. The group of people walked forward. These saints and geniuses of the sacred grounds were extremely cautious this time. They wore several layers of armor. Their king domains enveloped them. They were extremely dazzling, like gods of war. At the same time, deeper in the 10,000 Dragon Dynasty, a group of people shone brightly, like gods descending to the mortal world. These people were Li Xuanxian, the Queen Mother of the West, the patriarch of the Yi family, and the other sect masters and grand elders of the sacred grounds. This group of people was very powerful, and they even carried intact saint artifacts. Thus, their speed was very fast, and they arrived at a place even further away. However, even though these people had powerful trump cards, they were still scared at this moment, because their surroundings were too strange. Heaven and earth were dim, and there was only darkness in front of them. Only when they walked past did the darkness recede like the tide. However, the darkness behind them surged forward like a tidal wave and enveloped them. The surroundings were very quiet. There was a deathly silence. No sound could be heard. Only streams of dragon qi could be seen rolling in the surroundings. These dragon qi were much larger than the ones Lin Xian and the others had seen. They were a few hundred meters long, and some were even a few thousand meters long. They gave off an aura of desolation. Boom! At this moment, the ground under the Yin-Yang sacred leader's feet suddenly cracked open. The Yin-Yang sacred leader was startled. He wrapped his body with Yin-Yang qi, forming a Yin-Yang diagram that blocked all energy. The other sect masters were also on guard. Some of them even held peerless treasure artifacts and were ready to attack. "Don't move," an elder from the Ouyang family said. He was also a Seeker Spirit Master, but he was much more powerful than the Seeker Spirit Masters outside. He was a living fossil, and he was very old. He was already more than 3,000 years old. He was holding a walking stick, and his hair was hanging down to his ankles. His eyes were like divine lamps, shining brightly. "Don't attack!" he shouted loudly. The other sect masters didn't attack. Their eyes were like lightning as they pierced through the sky and looked down at the crack below. The Yin-Yang sect master also snorted coldly and retreated to the side. The Yin-Yang chi on his body kept rolling. It was mysterious. The crack below grew bigger and bigger, forming a crack that was almost 10,000 meters wide. Something slowly floated out. Seeing this, everyone was shocked. Their pupils constricted. Many grand elders, sect masters, and sect masters exclaimed. Li Xuanqian, the Queen Mother of the West, and the others also narrowed their eyes. Taoi's sacred leader, the Yin-Yang sect master, and the others also didn't look good. The living fossil elders of the three Seeker spirit master families were even more shocked. Their gazes were fixed in front of them. Chapter 2752. A huge object floated out from the crack. It looked like a block of ice floating in the air. Sealed within the ice was a person. It was a middle-aged man wearing a dragon robe. He wore a yellow robe with a 5-clawed flying dragon drawn on it. It was vivid and lifelike, and he wore a dragon crown on his head. He looked like an emperor. However, his eyes were filled with fear. Boundless fear. His expression was eternally sealed in ice, frozen in that instant. Who was this? Which dynasty's emperor was he? They frowned and looked at the people from the 4 great dynasties. The Tai dynasty, the Divine Wind dynasty, the Ninli dynasty, and the Grand Xia dynasty. The 4 emperors and the elders all had grave expressions. They were puzzled. This person wasn't someone from their dynasty. Then who was this person? Judging from his attire, he was definitely not a prince or an ordinary elder of the royal family. He should be an emperor. A grand elder of the Grand Xia dynasty spoke. The other experts of the royal family also nodded in agreement. Although they were all wearing yellow robes, the dragons drawn on them were strictly divided into ranks. Only the emperor could possess a 5-clawed divine dragon. Others simply didn't have the qualifications to draw a 5-clawed divine dragon. However, they all knew the royal family of the Central Plains dynasty. That was, unless it was from several tens of thousands of years ago. But they had never heard of a dynasty's emperor dying outside with his whereabouts unknown. Thus, everyone was discussing spiritedly. However, at that moment, the All Beginnings Holy Land's Holy Master furrowed his brows. Could it be that dynasty? Which dynasty? Everyone looked at him. The All Beginnings Holy Land's Holy Master said, "Have you all forgotten? A dynasty was once established in the Qinling Mountains. However, it only existed for a single day before it was destroyed." Once those words were said, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. That was right. It was definitely that dynasty that had been destroyed. At that time, the other party had been incomparably powerful. They had established their dynasty with an unparalleled attitude, wanting to possess the entire Qinling Mountains. However, the consequences had been miserable. In a single day, they had been reduced to ashes. All of their experts had been killed. Even their emperor's whereabouts were unknown. Now it seemed that it was very likely that the person who had been sealed in ice was that expert. Who was it that did this? Why would his corpse be in the nest of 10,000 dragons? Could it be that the nest of 10,000 dragons had done it? To warn everyone not to have any ideas about the nest of 10,000 dragons? These sacred leaders and sect masters were discussing fervently, and their expressions were extremely ugly. They didn't expect to encounter such a thing on their journey. Was this a warning from the nest of 10,000 dragons? Do you still want to go? The grand elders of the Holy Lands were discussing spiritedly. For a moment, they didn't continue forward. Instead, they stopped and continued to discuss. They quickly inquired about the 3 major spirit seeker clans. These living fossils also had solemn expressions as they quickly made deductions. Only after a long time had passed did they speak. The path ahead was extremely dangerous, could be said to be 9 deaths and 1 life. It wasn't any easier than the Forbidden Lands. The living fossil of the Ouyang family said in a deep voice. The living fossil of the Mop-head family stood up, but it was not like there was no chance. As long as we are careful, we can avoid it. Furthermore, there are so many of us, and we even have sacred weapons with us. Even if there is any danger, we can still resist it. This was the nest of 10,000 dragons. If he missed this opportunity, he wouldn't be able to find it again in the future. Indeed, everyone was tempted. The nest of 10,000 dragons, the burial ground of the dragon race, must have countless secrets. They must get it as soon as possible. These sacred leaders and grand elders discussed animatedly. In the end, they decided to set off again. These people carefully bypassed the peerless powerhouses, sealed in ice, and set off further away. Lin Xian's side also stopped in their tracks, because in front of them there was also a huge block of ice. Inside this block of ice, there was a woman sealed in it. She was very beautiful. She was wearing a phoenix robe, and her eyes were tightly shut as if she was sleeping. Back then, when this thing appeared, it gave everyone a fright. These saints and geniuses fled frantically, because when this scene appeared previously, it was a shield of a saint and an artifact spirit. Therefore, they didn't dare to be careless at all. However, after waiting for a long time, they found that this thing didn't have any signs of life. Only then did they dare to come over and observe it at a close distance. Lin Xian also opened his heavenly secret divine eyes and looked carefully. However, he didn't find anything at all. Which dynasty's princess was this? He frowned and asked the Prince of Great Xia and the others. The Prince of Great Xia shook his head, indicating that he didn't know her. The powerhouses and geniuses of the other dynasties also shook their heads. They didn't know this person either. Then what was going on? It was said that in ancient times a powerful force had once established a mysterious country and wanted to establish a dynasty. In the end, it was destroyed. Perhaps this was the princess of that dynasty. A powerhouse of Taixien sacred ground said. It was possible. The others discussed. Lin Xian didn't find any useful information. He said, "Let's continue." They continued to move forward. The aura in front of them was getting more and more mysterious. The sky was getting darker and darker, and the surroundings were like a thick fog that enveloped them. Everyone be careful. They gradually walked forward and found a valley in front of them. Let's rest in this valley. Lin Xian, Yu Wudao, and Wuchen discussed and said to the others. The others nodded. These 3 titled geniuses were powerful, so the others naturally had no objections to their suggestion. Moreover, they were indeed tired after experiencing so many thrilling things along the way. Many of them were injured all over. They had received severe trauma. They wanted to rest. They meditated in the valley and prepared to rest. Lin Xian, Morong Qingcheng, Shen Jingqiu, and the others also stopped and sat there cross-legged. They took turns to guard the valley. Lin Xian also closed his eyes. Later in the night, there was a shrill scream. It was very ear-piercing, as if they had seen a ghost. Immediately, all the saints opened their eyes. The powerhouses also rose into the air and shouted coldly, "What's going on?" They looked in all directions and pierced through the sky. However, they didn't find any danger. The martial artists who were in charge of guarding the valley were terrified. They pointed at their surroundings and screamed. The valley had disappeared. What? The valley is gone. These people stood up and looked around. Sure enough, their eyelids were twitching, and their faces were full of fear. Indeed, the valley they were familiar with was gone. There was no valley around. It was dark, and there were ruins everywhere. It was completely different from the valley they were in before. What's going on? How did we get out? Could we have been teleported out? That's impossible. If we were teleported out, we would have sensed it. Damn it, this place is too creepy. Everyone's hair stood on end. Look, what's that? Someone pointed in the distance and screamed in horror. There was a pitch-black thing in the distance. It was like a small mountain, and it looked like a monster king. The terrifying aura made them feel apprehensive. Chapter 27:53. Lin Xian flicked out a dragon sword chi and directly shattered the surrounding thick fog. The air gradually cleared, and everyone saw the scene in front of them clearly. It was an array formation. Someone exclaimed. Was it a teleportation? They hurried over. Some people even wanted to jump up and teleport out, but they were slapped down by the Crimson Dragon. Damn it, don't move. This is not an array formation, it's an altar. The faces of the warriors were slapped down, darkened. They wanted to attack, but when they saw the Crimson Dragon, they lost their temper. The others frowned. Altar? Is this an altar of the Dragon Clan? They all looked at the Crimson Dragon, because they have now confirmed that the Crimson Dragon is a dragon. Even the people from the 3 Seeker Spirit Master clans were staring at the altar with sparkling eyes. However, no one dared to speak. The Crimson Dragon pushed the crowd aside and walked up. It circled the ancient altar and carefully observed it. The others also watched with rapt attention. Lin Xian also examined it. He found that there was a very strange rune on the altar. It looked like a swimming dragon. It was extremely mysterious. He had never seen these words before, nor did he recognize them. Could it be that these were the words of the Dragon Clan? Rusalong, what was written on it? Lin Xian asked. The others were also very puzzled. The Crimson Dragon looked around and said that this was indeed an ancient altar, but what was written on it were some worship incantations. You won't understand even if I tell you. He didn't explain in detail, but he warned that this kind of thing was incomparably sacred in the Dragon Clan. Don't have any ideas about it. Don't go up and step on it with your feet, or you'll die. Hearing this, the warriors who originally had plans felt their scalps tingle and tremble. Of course, there were also some who didn't believe it. However, after experiencing the world destruction diagram, they didn't dare to be careless. Who knew if this ancient altar would suddenly erupt and kill all of them? Therefore, it was better not to act rashly. Besides, this ancient altar was of no use to them. Let's go and take a look around. The Crimson Dragon swayed its tail and walked away. The others also spread out. Not long after, someone screamed. The reason for that was because they discovered that there was a deep pit before them. It was a bottomless pit. Zhang Xian had no idea where it was connected to. It was incomparably dark, and even his soul perception and vision were unable to probe any further. This news shocked everyone. Lin Xian and the others hurried over and surrounded the crater. This pit had a diameter of 10 meters and was incomparably dark. Even Lin Xian's Tian Ji god eyes could only see a dozen meters away. Below that, he couldn't see clearly at all. The other person was the Taishan saint. He was wearing a blue robe and his eyes were shining like stars. He also opened his starry eyes and looked down. Apart from the 2 of them, the others also executed their eye techniques and soul techniques. However, they couldn't see what was inside. At most, they could only see a few meters away. What was down there? Where does this lead to? Would it be dangerous? Leaf Dowdenier asked 3 questions, none of which could be answered. Wu Qin said, "Forget it, let's go. We don't know what's down there. We don't need to take risks." The others nodded. The experts and elders of the 3 great Spirit Master clans also calculated for a long time, but they couldn't deduce anything. Everyone felt that it was better not to take risks, so they turned around and left. However, after a few hundred meters, someone suddenly screamed. Something was coming from behind. They used their soul perception to look behind them. Sure enough, they found something floating out of the pitch-black pit. Could it be a corpse or something else? This wasn't the first time they had seen something like this. The first time, it was the shield of a sage. The second time, it was the princess of the Shattered Dynasty. What was it this time? Everyone flew back and watched carefully. This time, 3 figures floated out. Each of them was a person sealed in ice. They were people. They were people again. Could it be that they were people from the Shattered Dynasty? Everyone was puzzled. Lin Xian opened his Tianji-God eyes and looked at the sky below. His pupils constricted, and he was extremely shocked. He saw more than a dozen similar things floating in the sky below. They were densely packed, but they didn't rush up. Divine crystals. They were divine crystals. At this moment, a prince of the Divine Wind Dynasty shrieked. He pointed at the 3 2-meter-tall crystals in front of him and screamed, "What? Divine crystals? You don't say it's true." They contained energy. They were sealed in ice with divine crystals. Who was it? It was too extravagant. That's not right. The princess we saw before was not sealed in ice with divine crystals. Could it be that the 2 of them are not in cahoots? These people were puzzled. At the same time, these experts and geniuses were tempted. If they could get such a large divine crystal, they would definitely make a fortune. One had to know that they had gone crazy when they saw the fist-sized divine crystal, not to mention the 2-meter-tall divine crystal. F***CK. How many fist-sized divine crystals could be cut out of this? It was definitely a shocking treasure. Not to mention them, even Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and Wu Chun were shocked. Their eyes were burning, especially Lin Xian. He urgently needed natural treasures and various kinds of energy, because whether it was the 9-yang divine body or the great dragon sword soul, they all needed energy. If he could get these 3 divine crystals, then he could further improve the 9-yang divine body and the great dragon sword soul, making them even more powerful. How could he not be tempted? The others were also tempted. They didn't know that there were more than a dozen such things floating below. Their gazes were all fixed on the 3 floating divine crystals. They were not in the mood to care about the people inside. Soon, these people made their move. Boom! A large bronze bell appeared out of thin air. It trembled rapidly, forming an invisible sound wave that swept in all directions. It caused the surrounding people to vomit blood and retreat. Damn it! It was the people from the Dao-I Holy Land. Many people roared. That's right. The person who made the move was an expert from the Dao-I Holy Land. He seized the opportunity and launched a powerful attack on everyone around him, forcing them to retreat. For a moment, he was the only one at the front. Haha, it's mine. He reached out his hand and grabbed the 3 divine crystals. You're courting death. Put it down. The other warriors were all furious. Buzz! The Yin-Yang sacred lady shouted and drew a Yin-Yang sword. It cut through the sky and slashed forward. An expert from the myriad thunder sacred ground wielded a lightning hammer and smashed it down. In an instant, the experts and geniuses of the various sacred grounds attacked one after another. Terrifying energy swept in all directions, pushing the 3 divine crystals in different directions. Attack! Lin Xian let out a shout and took the lead. The Crimson Dragon also attacked. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also attacked. Chapter 2754. The cultivators of Immortal Palace, Jade Lake, and Purple Afterglow Holy Land all combined their formations and attacked rapidly. The battle erupted very suddenly. Lin Xian charged toward the nearest cultivator. His fist punched out, and a golden mountain came crashing down from the sky. Many people in the surroundings coughed up blood and retreated. The large bronze bell in the sky spun rapidly. With a clang, it formed a terrifying sound wave that spread toward Lin Xian and the surrounding area. Buzz! Boom! Boom! Lin Xian's fist collided with the sound of the bell, and a thunderous boom erupted as a terrifying energy engulfed everything in the surroundings. Clang! Amidst the berserk energy, Lin Xian broke through the sound waves and arrived near the large bronze bell. His palm struck the large bronze bell and sent it flying. Puff! The expert from the Tao Holy Land also retreated, coughing up large mouthfuls of blood. Buzz! However, at this moment, the myriad lightning hammer fell from the sky and smashed toward Lin Xian. Terrifying lightning pierced through the surroundings. The expert from the myriad lightning Holy Land had made his move. He was an unparalleled king. He had made his move to snatch the deity crystal. Moreover, he wanted to take revenge for the people of his Holy Land. The myriad lightning Holy Land had quite a bit of enmity with Lin Xian. Therefore, he didn't hold back at all when he attacked. Pung! As the hammer fell, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The entire space was flooded by berserk lightning. The light around Lin Xian was completely shattered by the hammer. Terrifying lightning rushed toward Lin Xian. Whoosh! Lin Xian used the yin-yang 8 steps. With a single step, he crossed the void and dodged the hammer. He furrowed his brows. That was because this hammer felt like his life was in danger. Without a doubt, this was a supreme treasure. Moreover, the one who attacked was a terrifying, unparalleled king. Buzz! 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 Lin Xian retreated. The other saints' sons and heavenly geniuses rushed forward to snatch the 2-meter-tall deity crystal. An expert from the All Beginnings Holy Land and a prince from the 9 Li dynasty quickly arrived near the deity crystal. Their king domains were about to envelop the divine crystal. Right at that moment, that expert from the 10,000 lightning Holy Land attacked again. He waved the terrifying 10,000 lightning hammer and instantly shattered the 2 king domains. Boom! The All Beginnings Holy Land's expert screamed miserably. A bloody hole had appeared in his body, and his blood dyed the void red. Apart from that, the prince of the 9 Li dynasty was also in a miserable state. Their legs were blown off, and they screamed miserably. The 2 of them ran away like crazy. It recovered in the distance. Their faces were pale as they looked at the expert holding the thunder god's hammer in horror. The surrounding robbers were also extremely shocked. Many of them stopped in their tracks, bewildered. It was too terrifying. The 10,000 lightning Holy Land actually had such a terrifying thing. One had to know that the myriad thunder sage and the myriad thunder sacred land had been suppressed by Lin Xian previously. Thus, they started to look down on the 10,000 lightning Holy Land from the bottom of their hearts. Who would have thought that such an expert would appear in the 10,000 Thunder Holy Land? Furthermore, the lightning hammer in his hand was simply too terrifying. Damn it, that was a half-sage artifact. An elder of the 9 Li dynasty had a gloomy expression as he hurriedly ordered his prince to retreat. The others also had terrified expressions. The might of a half-sage artifact when used by an unparalleled king was unimaginable. Although they were so far away, the power of lightning emitted from the hammer had already numbed their bodies and slowed their movements. This thing is mine. The 10,000 lightning Holy Land's expert held the terrifying lightning hammer and looked around disdainfully. The surrounding people were shocked. They had unwilling expressions, but they didn't dare to step forward. Lin Xian coldly snorted and walked forward once more. You think you're unparalleled under the heavens with a mere half-sage artifact? You're still far from it. He punched out, and golden light illuminated the surroundings. With a clang, the golden fist collided with the 10,000 lightning hammer, creating a heaven-shaking sound. The 10,000 lightning hammer retreated, and so did Lin Xian's palm. The 10,000 lightning Holy Land's expert sneered. Brat, do you really think you can be arrogant just because you have the 9 yang divine body? Do you not put anyone in your eyes? Let me tell you, your 9 yang divine body is useless in front of my 10,000 lightning hammer. If you don't scram, I'll beat you up. Insolence, he's too arrogant. The surrounding people trembled. No one dared to say such words to Lin Xian. Sure enough, Lin Xian's face darkened, and the corners of his mouth curled into a sneer. Isn't it just a half-sage artifact? Do you think I don't have one? He directly grabbed the 9-story pagoda and continued to enlarge it, turning it into a huge mountain. He grabbed the top of the pagoda and directly smashed the void. This scene was simply too frightening. The towering mountain was being waved around by Lin Xian like a peerless demon king. Boom! Boom! You're courting death. The 10,000 lightning, Holy Land's expert, roared as the two of them fought. The two half-sage artifacts collided in the sky. It was extremely terrifying. The others were also looking for opportunities to launch sneak attacks. In short, the scene was extremely chaotic. Not only Lin Xian, but the other 2 divine crystals were also in the same situation. After all, this was very tempting. No one would give up something that belonged to humans. Terrifying energy spread out in all directions. The weaker cultivators had already retreated from the battlefield. The 3 2-meter-tall divine crystals were like small boats in the waves, constantly surging. Gradually, cracks began to appear on one of the divine crystals. It couldn't be helped. The surrounding energy was too terrifying. Even the aftermath of the energy was extremely terrifying. It was already very shocking that these divine crystals could withstand it until now. However, they really couldn't bear it anymore. Crack! Crack! The cracks on it grew bigger and bigger. Not only the first one, but the second and third divine crystals also had cracks. This scene naturally caused the others to cry out in alarm. Someone screamed. The divine crystals had cracked. Everyone get ready to snatch them. Everyone's souls covered the sky and the earth, constantly paying attention to the broken divine crystals. As long as the divine crystals cracked, they would attack crazily without caring about anything else. Lin Xian was also watching anxiously. However, in the next moment, his eyelids twitched and a sense of fear rose in his heart. He quickly retreated as if he had seen a ghost. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to the Crimson Dragon, Murong Qingcheng, Shen Jingqiu, and Peacock from Immortal Palace. Retreat, retreat quickly. Don't go near there. Kid, what happened? The Crimson Dragon was puzzled. Murong Qingcheng, Shen Jingqiu, and the others were also puzzled. Peacock and the others were convinced and quickly retreated. Lin Xian sent another voice transmission. He didn't have time to explain and quickly retreated. Okay, Brother Xian. Shen Jingqiu, Murong Qingcheng, and their respective people retreated. The Crimson Dragon also retreated unwillingly. This scene caused the surrounding people to be puzzled. What was going on? Were Lin Xian and the others going to give up? So what if that kid was strong? He had offended too many factions and sacred grounds. So many people wanted his life. If he dared to snatch it, those experts would join forces, and he would be finished. Someone sneered. Indeed, he had offended too many sacred grounds and sects. There was no place for him in the future. The surrounding people discussed animatedly. Chapter 2755. The Crimson Dragon and the others came to Lin Xian's side and quickly asked, Kid, what's going on? Could it be that you're really afraid? What a joke! Lin Xian shook his head and said, I just saw the eyelids of the people inside the divine crystal move. What? Eyelids move? The Crimson Dragon was stunned. The expressions of Shen Jingqiu, Murong Qingcheng, and the others also changed. Are you saying that they're still alive? No way. They've been dead for tens of thousands of years. How could they still be alive? These people were in disbelief, and the faces of Peacock and the others were pale. Lin Xian said, I can't be wrong. Indeed, he had unlimited confidence in the heavenly secret divine eyes. It was an incomparably magical, pupil technique. How could he be wrong? Could it be the Crimson Dragon's heart was also beating wildly? Kid, maybe you're right. This matter is going to be serious. Let's hurry up and escape. His expression became very ugly. This time, it was Lin Xian's turn to be puzzled. What do you know? I remember an ancient legend. The Crimson Dragon swallowed his saliva. Do you know that in ancient times those powerful forces and races would use divine crystals to seal their descendants or preserve their lives? This way, they could minimize the consumption of their life force. Moreover, the huge amount of divine crystals could increase their strength, and they wouldn't die even after tens of thousands of years. As long as the time is right and the divine crystal is broken, they will revive. Previously, we saw a 2-meter divine crystal, but we were wrong. When this divine crystal was first sealed, it might have been dozens or hundreds of meters. After countless years, only 2 meters were left. You're saying that they're from the nest of 10,000 dragons. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. Yes, definitely. Don't attack anymore, the Crimson Dragon said quickly. Lin Xian's eyes were gloomy as he looked ahead. As expected, more and more divine crystals shattered. Finally, the figure in the first divine crystal opened his eyes. At the same time, the divine crystal on his body shattered into pieces. Hurry up and snatch it. Around him, the warriors attacked in a frenzy. However, in the next moment, they screamed. He opened his eyes. He's alive! How could this be? These people were frightened out of their wits. In the next moment, blood splattered. The man who walked out of the divine crystal quickly made his move. His arm was like a heavenly blade. Puff! In an instant, 5 or 6 heads flew up like shooting stars, and blood dyed the sky red. This scene directly frightened those martial artists in the surroundings. Their eyes widened as they stared at the scene in front of them in disbelief. What's going? How could the person inside the divine crystal be alive? Moreover, he had made a move, and his strength was so terrifying. Who is he? Could it be the expert from the Shadow Dynasty? Was he a descendant of the ancient times? They were. Among them, the older generation, experts, all shouted coldly. Who are you? How dare you attack us? Lin's, no one answered. The expert, who walked out of the divine crystal, was wearing blue battle armor. His eyes were cold and emotionless. He stretched out his large hands, which turned into 2 mountains that crushed the surrounding warriors. The surrounding warriors fought back, but the person in front of them was too terrifying. He had definitely reached the level of an invincible king. The weaker warriors around him were mercilessly blasted to pieces. You're courting death. Get lost. The 2 peerless geniuses charged over. The sabers in their hands turned into giant dragons that were thousands of feet long. They descended from the sky and fought with the man. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out and sparks flew. However, the 2 saber lights shattered with a loud bang, splitting apart from the middle. The man in blue turned around, and his eyes turned into 2 blood arrows that pierced through the void. He sent the 2 young geniuses flying. Retreat! He's too strong. Damn it, what kind of physique does he have? He's so strong. The surrounding people were stunned. Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others were also surprised. The 2 young geniuses were quite strong. When they attacked, they could threaten an invincible king. However, the person in front of them didn't dodge at all. He used the strength of his physical body to shatter the 2 saber lights. This scene really surprised them. Needless to say, the other party's physique was very special. Could it be that this was also a type of transformation? Abnormal physique? They didn't know and they couldn't understand. Roar! After sending the 2 young geniuses flying, the man in blue roared at the sky. His terrifying voice roared in all directions. The surrounding aura of the Tao of Dragons accompanied his roar, surging nonstop. One after another, giant dragons soared into the sky. Ka ka ka! The surrounding people were stunned because they saw a frightening scene. The blue-clothed man's body continued to grow. Purple scales appeared on his originally normal skin. They were densely packed and looked extremely terrifying. His body also continued to grow taller. 5 meters, 10 meters, dozens of meters. Finally, he turned into a monster that was nearly 100 meters tall. Roar! A loud voice resounded through the 9 heavens. A huge purple tail kept twitching, shattering the void. He wasn't human, he was a demon. What was this? A human-shaped Tyrannosaurus? These people were stunned. The crimson dragon's expression was solemn. Damn it, that's right, something from the 10,000 dragons suppression had indeed appeared. Kid, hurry up and leave. These are all ancient demon beasts. They're all related to dragons. This time the crimson dragon didn't send a voice transmission, so the surrounding warriors all heard it. What? This isn't the destroyed dynasty, but the existence in the nest of 10,000 dragons. Damn it! Their faces turned green. They actually provoked such an existence. Hurry up and leave. Oh no, don't let the other 2 shatter. They looked at the other 2 divine crystals. Now they were no longer greedy. Instead, they were worried. If 2 more demons rushed out, then they would really be dead. What they were worried about really happened. The other 2 divine crystals also cracked and shattered. Then, 2 figures opened their eyes. They also roared and dragon scales appeared on their bodies. One of them turned into a red fire dragon and spat out flames that filled the sky. The other one had a pair of black wings on its back and was flying in the sky. Their forms were different from the crimson dragon. No one knew if they were mutated dragons or other demon kings related to the dragon clan. But without exception, the auras of these 3 things were too terrifying. Hurry up and leave. The surrounding people no longer cared about the immortal state. Lin Xian even left with his people, because he clearly saw that there were more than a dozen such existences in the pitch-black sinkhole. He didn't dare to imagine what would happen if they all recovered. Everyone fled in all directions. The 3 demon kings in the suppression of 10,000 dragons attacked crazily. Stupid humans! How dare you disturb the noble habitat of the dragon clan? Go to hell! A cold voice sounded with a primordial aura, resounding in all directions. Chapter 2756. The 3 monster kings attacked crazily. Many people were directly blasted apart. Blood dyed the sky red. Those who were stronger didn't dare to resist head-on. Who knew if there were other, terrifying existences in the crater? Hence, these people fled crazily. On Lin Xian's side, he was targeted by the flying monster king. He was very fast. Like a bolt of lightning, he blocked the path of Lin Xian and the others. Despicable human, go to hell! He opened his mouth and spat out black light waves. They transformed into black blades that enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian and the others quickly attacked, sending the light that filled the sky flying. The crimson dragon roared. F*CK. If Ben Huang doesn't show his might, do you all want to die? His body expanded again, transforming into a 5-clawed divine dragon that roared towards the sky. A terrifying dragon might surged into the 9 heavens. Buzz! The black monster king in front was stunned. He was stunned in midair. What was going on? A dragon? A dragon among the humans? Who are you? The 2 monster kings in the distance were also stunned. They stared at the crimson dragon. Who am I? I am your master. I am your king. Hurry up and kneel on the ground. The crimson dragon snorted coldly. Its dragon head emitted a terrifying aura. A dragon, it was actually a purebred dragon. This stunned the 3 monster kings. What was going on? Could it be that the supreme existence in the nest of 10,000 dragons had revived? But why was he with the humans? No, damn it, you are not a dragon from the nest of 10,000 dragons. Who are you? Where are you from? Why do you want to occupy our nest of 10,000 dragons? Damn it, this was a conspiracy. They screamed crazily. Kill him. Kill everyone. No one was allowed to threaten the nest of 10,000 dragons. Boom! An earth-shattering battle erupted, affecting all the people present. Everyone was fighting with all their might because they didn't want to be killed. Roar! The flaming monster king roared. An endless sea of fire spread and enveloped everything. The black-winged monster king in front also charged over. His black wings transformed into 2 heavenly blades that slashed down at the crimson dragon, wanting to kill him. Clang! The black wings hit the body of the crimson dragon with a deafening sound. The crimson dragon gritted his teeth in pain, but his body was unusually tough. From the looks of it, it wasn't any weaker than Lin Xian's 9 divine body, so it wasn't injured. But the crimson dragon was clearly enraged. Dai won his body, quickly shrank. This way, his attacks became more agile. He fought with the black-winged demon king. Brat, come over and help me deal with it. They might know what's going on inside. The crimson dragon greeted Lin Xian. Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. His interest was piqued. Indeed, these 3 fellows were from the nest of 10,000 dragons. If they could really control these 3 fellows, it would be of great benefit to them. Thinking of this, Lin Xian did not hesitate and quickly charged forward. You human ants want to fight against us? You're overestimating yourselves. The 3 terrifying demon kings roared angrily. The black-winged demon king was like lightning, his speed extremely fast. Almost no one could keep up with his speed. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly and used the yin-yang 8 steps. His speed was also boundless. Boom! 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 He caught up to the black feather demon king. His terrifying fists moved and exploded in all directions. The terrifying energy came crashing down like a mountain. The black feather demon king was extremely surprised. He could actually keep up with his speed. He quickly flashed and dodged these attacks. His cold gaze stared at Lin Xian. Roar! Despicable human, go to hell! He roared angrily, and a terrifying pressure emitted from his body, directly shaking the soul and bloodline. If it was a human warrior, they would definitely not be able to resist. Sure enough, with a furious roar, the surrounding people trembled. Many people directly fell to the ground, unable to move at all. Ha 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 ha, lowly and stupid humans. How can you be compared to our noble bloodline? Of course, not everyone would be affected. Those prodigies with bloodline power and special physiques were not affected at all. Lin Xian was one of them. The terrifying roar was deafening, shattering the void. However, it did not affect him at all. Is this your strength? Was it because she had slept for so many years that her brain had gone stupid? Lin Xian sneered. You think you can suppress me with just a wisp of pressure? You're too naive. You're courting death. The black feather demon king was furious. A human actually dared to look down on him? This was intolerable. However, his expression was extremely gloomy. How could this kid not be afraid of his pressure? Who was the other party? Could it be that he had a special bloodline? Kid, it seems that I've underestimated you. I didn't expect you to have a special bloodline. But very well, I haven't absorbed human blood for many years. Today, I'll start with you. Buzz. His figure flashed, and he instantly charged towards Lin Xian. Roar. Lin Xian did not dodge, nor did he make a move. He activated the great dragon sword soul and opened his mouth to roar out a terrifying sound wave. This was not the sound wave of a human. This was the roar of a giant dragon, resounding throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands. Everyone trembled again and crawled on the ground. The black feather demon king in front also suffered a violent impact. He kept swaying in the sky, his eyes filled with fear. A dragon's roar. Impossible, damn it, you're a dragon. He was stunned. How could a human let out such a pure dragon's roar? He did not believe it. However, the blood in his body began to tremble. He felt the suppression from his blood. What's wrong? Are you surprised? The dark red divine dragon also flew over and let out a series of dragon roars. Immediately, the black feather demon king's expression became even uglier. In the distance, the other two demon kings also had solemn expressions. They transmitted their voices to each other and attacked with all their might to destroy these humans. In an instant, a great battle broke out. A cold light appeared in the black feather demon king's eyes. His black wings trembled and instantly transformed into tens of thousands of clones. In the sky, countless identical figures circled, emitting a terrifying aura. Kill! With a furious roar, these clones charged in all directions. Block them! The crimson dragon roared and charged forward. Murong Qingcheng, Shan Jingqiu, and the warriors of Immortal Palace also counterattacked. Lin Xian activated the heavenly secret divine eye. Golden runes flickered in his eyes. He naturally wanted to distinguish the black feather demon king's true body. Found it. Although the other party's clones were very magical, how could they escape the detection of the heavenly secret divine eye? Lin Xian quickly locked onto the other party's true body. His golden palm stretched out and covered the sky and earth, enveloping the true body. What? He had been discovered. This was impossible. The black feather demon king was shocked. The human boy in front of him had given him too many surprises. He could actually discover the location of his true body in an instant. This guy must have been blinded. However, since you're facing my true body, I'll shatter your palm. He sneered. As a demon king who was related to the dragon clan, his physique was powerful, far beyond the imagination of these humans. The other party would definitely suffer. Chapter 27:57. He wanted to tear the other party's entire arm apart. The black feather monster king didn't dodge. He seemed to have transformed into a black saber as he slashed at Lin Xian's palm. With a clang, the two collided, emitting an earth-shattering sound. Sparks flew, and thunder rumbled between heaven and earth. Impossible he wasn't injured. The black feather monster king was stunned. He felt dizzy. He felt as if he hadn't collided with a palm, but a golden mountain. It was too hard. He actually didn't manage to crack it. Damn it, what kind of palm was this? What kind of physique did the other party have? The black feather monster king was too shocked. He had never seen anyone with such a strong physique. How could the other party contend against him? However, this was only the beginning. What shocked him was yet to come. Lin Xian's golden palm began to close. The powerful pressure caused the bones in the black feather monster king's body to creak. It was as if they were about to shatter. Damn it, open for me! The black feather monster king roared. His body was covered in black patterns. His wings were like heavenly blades that slashed in all directions. A sonorous sound rang out, shaking heaven and earth. However, to his horror, the black palm was actually unaffected. It had already completely enveloped him. Not only that, but there was a terrifying divine flame dancing on the golden palm. The temperature shocked him. It was as if what he was facing wasn't a palm, but a golden sun. Could it be that this guy was a golden crow? He was too shocked. This heat made him unable to believe it. Who exactly was this kid? He actually had such a flame that could emit a dragon's roar? Who exactly was he? The black feather monster king was incomparably furious. He had no choice. He activated the power of his bloodline and used a powerful divine ability to blast away Lin Xian's palm and escape. Lin Xian was surprised. As expected of an ancient monster king, he was indeed powerful. He was actually able to escape from his palm. "Kid, you have completely infuriated me." Before the Black Feather Monster King could finish his words, he was slapped on the head. Instantly he felt dizzy. Woo, gee, the snow-white little monkey appeared around him, proud of itself. It waved its little claws and slapped him again. Dizziness. The terrifying Black Feather Monster King was directly dizzy. He felt the world spinning and was about to fall from the sky. "Attack quickly!" The Crimson Dragon roared. The surrounding martial artists and geniuses all attacked the Blackfish Fiend King. He was beaten back repeatedly. However, to their horror, they discovered that the other party was not injured at all. Their attacks landed on the other party's body, but they didn't manage to break through the other party's defense. Damn it, this is the ancient Demon King, a demon beast from the nest of 10,000 dragons? This was too terrifying. What kind of physique was this? No one dared to imagine. The Crimson Dragon held the Flood Dragon scissors and charged over. Clang! It crashed into the other party's body, creating an earth-shattering noise. Black Feather Demon King screamed in pain. Blood flowed out of his head. There was nothing he could do about it. This was a half-saint tool. No matter how powerful he was, he couldn't block it. The fact that he wasn't directly cut in half already showed that his physique was extremely terrifying. "Stupid ants, you've completely infuriated me." Black Feather Light. He spread out his wings, and they grew bigger and bigger. They were like two dark clouds that covered the sky and the earth. The black feathers on it fluttered rapidly, forming a terrifying hidden weapon. "Not good, quickly block it." The surrounding people cried out in alarm. They all used their shields and armor to block the attack. However, most of them were pierced by the black feathers and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Only a small number of geniuses were able to resist, but they were still forced to retreat. Black Feather Demon King was too terrifying. He was fighting against so many powerhouses alone, but he wasn't at a disadvantage. After forcing back the surrounding warriors, Black Feather Demon King's cold eyes stared at Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon. But soon he locked onto Lin Xian. The Crimson Dragon was a dragon. He didn't want to make a move. Even if he wanted to make a move, he would let the dragons in the nest of 10,000 dragons do it. The one he wanted to kill was this kid in front of him. The other party was too strange. He had to kill him. Black Feather Sword. On the wings behind him, countless black feathers fluttered and rotated in front of him, condensing into a large black feather sword. He held it in his hand. With a light wave, it tore through the void. These feathers were even more terrifying than King Kong. At this moment, the black feather sword was truly a powerful killing weapon. Kill! With a furious roar, he quickly rushed towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian sneered. He was not afraid at all. He also pulled out the Dragon Abyss Valley Sword and fought against him. The two long swords clashed in the air like two mountains constantly colliding. Every strike shattered the starry sky and caused the sun and moon to dim. Damn it! How could this kid's sword technique be so powerful? Black Feather Demon King's arm went numb. The other party's strength was too strong, especially the other party's sword energy. It was incomparably sharp, making his hair stand on end. Not good. Suddenly, his expression changed drastically, because he discovered that another sword light had appeared in the other party's left hand. This sword light was like a dragon. As soon as it appeared, it emitted a peerless aura that made his scalp go numb. His heart was thumping wildly as he quickly dodged the attack. He knew that this was the other party's killing move and that he couldn't resist it head-on. Therefore, black runes flickered all over his body as he used his strongest physique. At the same time, his speed was extremely fast. Pooh! Lin Xian took out a dragon-shaped sword shadow and stabbed out. Blood splattered and countless black feathers danced in the air. This sword pierced through Black Feather Demon King's body. Blood instantly splattered out. This wasn't red blood, but black blood. It was abnormally strange. Every drop pierced through the void, bringing with it an incomparably demonic blood aura that made one's scalp go numb. Dodge quickly. Don't let this blood touch you. The surrounding warriors dodged frantically. Lin Xian was not afraid. His 9-yang divine body bloomed with light and blocked everything. The black blood couldn't get close to him at all. Black Feather Demon King's body was pierced through by the dragon-shaped sword shadow. He was nailed to the air and let out a miserable cry. His face was incomparably distorted, becoming even more ferocious. The terrifying sound waves were like waves that roared into the 9 heavens. The entire space trembled as if it was about to be overturned. Damn it, what was going on? Black Feather was actually injured. In the distance, the other 2 Demon Kings had solemn expressions. They didn't expect that someone could injure Black Feather. Who was it? Was he a young Heaven's chosen? Damn it, when did such a powerful person appear in the human race? It wasn't just one of them. Their faces were pale because they discovered that Yi Wudao and Dustless were also incomparably powerful. They were also abnormally uncomfortable from being beaten up. Quickly, save Black Feather. The sword in that kid's hand was very strange. He should be related to the dragon race. The 2 Demon Kings charged over. Your opponent is me. Yi Wudao stood out and blocked the Demon Kings that were dozens of meters tall. Golden light soared into the sky from his body, forming a golden giant. He fought with the Demon Kings. On the other side, Dustless fought against the Flame Demon King. Flower Pinching Finger. An immortal flower formed in his hand, turning into a peerless immortal light that pierced through the flames that filled the sky. Chapter 27:58. The flower-pinching finger posed a great threat to the Fire Demon King. Coupled with the surrounding experts, the 2 Demon Kings were unable to advance at all. Damn it, kid! I want you dead! In front of him, the Black Feather Demon King, who was nailed in mid-air, screamed crazily. His black blood did not fall. Instead, it rose into the air and danced rapidly in the air, spinning and forming terrifying runes one after another. These were demonic runes. They were very strange and surrounded Lin Xian. Kid, go to hell! He roared angrily and began to refine the blood. The blood burned, and a terrifying force swept towards Lin Xian, wanting to ignite him. Not good. This is a living sacrifice. Kid, dodge. The Crimson Dragon was shocked. It did not expect the Black Feather Demon King to be so desperate. This was a terrifying divine ability. It used its own bloodline's secret technique to forcefully sacrifice the enemy. Of course, it also had an effect on the user. That was because a large amount of blood would be lost. Even if the user killed the enemy, the user would be seriously injured. It would take a long time to recover. One could imagine that the Black Feather Demon King was extremely angry. Otherwise, he would not have used such a killing move. Lin Xian did feel a sense of danger. A mysterious force wanted to ignite the blood and spiritual power in his body. This force was very strange. It directly ignored the 9-yang divine body. It could be said that it was impossible to guard against. If it were other geniuses, they might have despaired, because it was impossible to extinguish. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. The great dragon, sword soul surged. Countless sword chi flew out and destroyed this mysterious force. Destroy! Lin Xian was like a peerless sword god. Thousands of sword chi surged out of his body and slashed in all directions. The surrounding black blood exploded and turned into a bloody mist. Then it was cleanly sliced, leaving not a single trace behind. The Black Feather Demon King was completely stunned. His eyes widened in disbelief. What's going on? How can the other party break my living sacrifice? This kind of living sacrifice was abnormally terrifying. There was no way to break it. This was a secret technique passed down from ancient times. Moreover, it was ignited at the cost of his blood. How did the other party break it? This brat was really too strange. The Black Feather Demon King was shocked. At this moment, he no longer dared to attack. He only wanted to escape as soon as possible. Do you want to leave? Golden runes flashed in Lin Xian's eyes, forming two strange patterns. Soul flame flew out of Xiao Chen's right eye, burning the other party's soul. Ah! Black Feather King screamed and rolled on the ground. However, his body was still firmly immobilized by the dragon's sword shadow. Therefore, there was no way to escape. However, the pain of his soul burning made him hover between life and death. Damn it, what happened? In the distance, the two demon kings were going crazy. They knew how powerful the Black Feather King was. But now he was in such a miserable state in the hands of a human brat. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Damn it! Had the humans of this era already become so powerful? Both of them were stunned. They had slumbered for countless years. But back then, before the nest of 10,000 dragons had fallen into slumber, they had been the overlords of the world. Across the land, the monster race ran amok, and the ancient royal race reigned supreme. The human race was only a weak lineage that could only survive in the cracks. But now the other party was actually so powerful. Could it be that the human race had already become the overlords of the world? He didn't dare to imagine. Soul attack! Damn it! How could this brat's soul attack be so powerful? The Black Feather King went crazy, but he wouldn't sit still and wait for death. Soul mirror, block for me! As an ancient king of beasts, he had a lot of tricks up his sleeves. Soon, his soul condensed into a soul mirror, blocking the terrifying soul fire around him. However, the good times didn't last long. At this moment, the snow-white monkey appeared beside the Black Feather King again. With a slap of its claws, the Black Feather King was stunned for 3 seconds. These 3 seconds were going to cost him his life. The soul mirror shattered, and Black Rock's soul was burned until it was extremely weak. Buzz! In Lin Xian's left eye, mysterious golden runes appeared. He wanted to forcefully control the Black Feather King and make him his slave. This way, he would be able to control the other party and understand the secrets of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Ah, the Black Feather King rolled in the sky. His body was split into 2 halves as he kept rolling. He wanted to get rid of the control of the soul imprint. However, Lin Xian's heavenly secret divine eye was too mysterious. In the end, he still planted a soul imprint. This made the Black Feather King become Lin Xian's slave. He recovered and knelt down to listen to orders. Lin Xian was like a supreme king as he issued an order. The Black Feather King's broken body quickly healed. Then he knelt down on one knee and bowed to his master. Seeing this scene, everyone around went crazy. Whether it was the saint, the geniuses, or the 2 demon kings in the distance, they were all stunned. What was going on? The Black Feather King was actually controlled. This Lin Xian actually had such a method. The human cultivators were extremely shocked as they looked at Lin Xian with fear written all over their faces. The other 2 demon kings glanced at each other before turning around and fleeing. It was too terrifying. These humans were already so terrifying that they didn't dare to make a move. They could only leave first. The 2 of them forced Yi Wudao and Wu Qin to retreat. They used all their strength and turned into streams of light to escape. Yi Wudao and Wu Qin didn't make a move again. Instead, they turned to look at Lin Xian and the Black Feather King beside him. With a flash, the 2 of them flew forward. The surrounding humans also gathered towards Lin Xian. In an instant, they all gathered around Lin Xian. Brother Lin really had a good method. Wu Qin's eyes lit up. The 1-pound leaf Dao Denier also asked, "Brother Lin, are you controlling me?" Lin Xian nodded, then looked at the Black Feather King. Tell me what you know." The Black Feather King knelt on one knee on the ground, very respectful. He said in a deep voice, "In ancient times, the powerful existence of the nest of 10,000 dragons deduced that there would be a crisis of world destruction. It was not suitable for survival at all. Therefore, the entire nest of 10,000 dragons was sealed, waiting for the crisis to be resolved. Then it would recover and reign over the land. It turned out to be such a thing. This was not the burial place of the dragon race, but the resting place of the dragon race. Heavens, they seem to have discovered an incredible secret. Originally, they thought that this was the ancient tomb of the dragon race, where countless dragon race corpses and treasures were buried. But now, it seemed that this was not the case at all. For unknown reasons, these dragon race had sealed themselves and fallen into a deep sleep. They hoped that they would wake up after the danger was resolved. In other words, the real dragons in the nest of 10,000 dragons were probably sealed in the divine crystal like the 3 demon kings in front of them. As long as the divine crystal was broken, these terrifying dragon race would recover. Heavens, everyone's faces were filled with fear as their bodies trembled. If the 3 monster kings were already so terrifying, how terrifying would the real dragon clan be? They didn't dare to imagine. Chapter 27:59. Not good. Even our sect leaders are in danger. Many of the elders from the sacred grounds turned pale. They had to inform them. Indeed, what they needed to do now was not to explore the nest of 10,000 dragons. Instead, they had to leave this place quickly. It would be best if they used a peerless array formation to seal this place forever. Otherwise, when the dragon race revived and appeared on the ground, then the entire land would be plunged into misery and suffering, and war would break out. At that time, it was really unknown whether the human race would be able to resist. Therefore, these people's faces were filled with fear. They hurriedly activated their secret techniques in an attempt to contact their sect leaders. But just like before, they couldn't contact them at all. "What's going on?" Lin Xian asked with a frown. The Black Feather King said respectfully. The peerless array formation enveloped the entire nest of 10,000 dragons, preventing long-distance communication. "How much do you know about the nest of 10,000 dragons? Lead us to the depths of the nest of 10,000 dragons." Lin Xian thought for a moment and said in a deep voice, "Since they couldn't contact those sacred leaders, they could only search for them personally. Hopefully, these sect leaders hadn't reached the deepest part of the nest of 10,000 dragons yet. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable." The depths of the nest of 10,000 dragons were mysterious. The Queen Mother, Li Xuanxian, the Yi family patriarch, and the other sacred leaders set off again. They went deeper. In front of them, a small black mountain also appeared. This scene surprised Li Xuanxian, the Queen Mother, and the others. "Speed up!" These sacred leaders and sect leaders were powerful, and they arrived near the Black Mountain in an instant. However, when they arrived, they were surprised to find that it wasn't a mountain. It was an altar. The 4 symbols sacred leader exclaimed, and the others also frowned. The dragon race's altar? The runes on it were so strange. They were different from those of the human race. The Yi family's grand elder also frowned. At this moment, all the powerhouses' eyes flickered. They wanted to decipher the dragon race's runes, but they couldn't do it. There seemed to be another altar in front of them, and it was even taller. The Taishian sacred leader used his astral eyes and looked around. Soon he locked onto a direction and walked over to take a look. These sacred leaders and sect leaders moved again. That's right, the altar this time was even larger. It was like a mountain standing in front of them. Before they even got close, the sacred leaders and sect masters stopped. They could feel a shocking energy coming from the front. That aura was so oppressive that they could not breathe. This was just too terrifying. What kind of status did they have? What kind of people did they have? What kind of things had they not seen before? But now they actually felt a trace of fear in front of the black altar. Buzz, the great development sacred lord, coldly snorted and took out a saint sword. This was a true saint weapon. As soon as it appeared, it emitted a terrifying saint aura that enveloped the elders of the Dayan's sacred ground. The other sacred leaders and sect leaders also used their own techniques to resist the terrifying saint aura. The patriarch of the Yi family and the patriarch of the Gu family had grave expressions on their faces. The patriarch of the Yi family emitted a golden light, as if he was a real, golden god of war. The surroundings of the head of the Gu clan were mysterious. His body seemed to have merged with the void and completely disappeared. Both of them were clan leaders of Clan of the Ancients. Their strength was terrifying. In the blink of an eye, they had arrived near the black altar. In the next moment, the members of the Yi family screamed, "Damn it, Emperor runes!" This was a Dao rune set up by a great emperor. The two of them frantically retreated as if they had seen a ghost. If there were other martial artists who saw this scene, they would definitely be stunned. Something that could make them so frightened was definitely not simple. As expected, when the other sacred leaders and sect leaders heard this, they also frowned. What? Runes set up by a great emperor? Are you sure? Their eyes emitted a piercing light as they looked ahead carefully. Indeed, there was an array near the black altar. Although it was only a corner, the aura that it emitted was terrifying. Don't act rashly. This emperor rune is still in a closed state. Don't activate it. Otherwise, none of us will be able to escape, Sacred Leader Dowie said in a deep voice. The others were even more shocked, especially those sacred grounds and family clans that had been out before. A corner of the Emperor rune was only in a closed state, but the aura it emitted was as deep as the ocean. If it was activated, it would pierce through the sky. Even if they had sacred weapons, they would not be able to resist it. What should we do? Should we retreat? An elder asked. However, the Yi family leader, Gu family leader, Queen Mother of the West, and the others shook their heads. The Emperor rune was such a rare thing. Why should they retreat? That's right. Why should they give up such a good opportunity to comprehend it? If they could comprehend even a little bit, it would be of great help to them. The head of the Yi family also spoke. The others' eyes lit up. Their eyes were burning. Indeed, as long as they were careful, they could comprehend the runes left behind by the great emperor. Great emperors were existences that had existed for thousands of years and dominated the world. The things that they left behind were definitely terrifying. No matter how powerful these sacred leaders and sect leaders were, they could not be compared to the great emperors. Therefore, they only wanted to comprehend it quickly. Buzz. These experts all sat down cross-legged. Their eyes were like divine lamps as they began to comprehend the corner of the Emperor rune. To be honest, if it was possible, they were willing to stay here and comprehend it for 10 or even 100 years. However, they knew that it was impossible. A few days later, many sacred leaders and sect leaders opened their eyes and looked behind them. There was a wave of energy coming from behind. Who was it? Could it be that the bachelor sage had come? That's impossible. How did they get here? These sacred leaders and sect elders discussed animatedly. Could it be that the thing in the nest of 10,000 dragons had revived? This was what they were even more worried about. After all, they still didn't know that this was the place of eternal rest. They thought that this was an ancient tomb, so if there was a corpse transformation or something like that, it might be very terrifying. These sacred leaders and sect leaders stopped comprehending and stood up. Their eyes were gloomy, and their auras were about to erupt at any time. However, gradually their expressions changed. No, the aura wasn't that strong, and it was very familiar. That's right, this is the aura of our sacred land. Golden chi and blood. A disciple of the Yi family. Exclamations could be heard one after another. It was their people. They were too surprised. They had to be careful when they came to this place. How did those young disciples come here? Their speed was too fast, wasn't it? Could it be an illusion? To be honest, these sacred leaders and sect leaders were still very careful. Sure enough, a group of people appeared behind them. They were a dark mass and were quickly rushing over. The few at the front were very heroic and extraordinary. One was surrounded by sword light like a peerless sword god. The other was surrounded by golden chi and blood, like a golden god of war. The other was a young monk who was surrounded by Buddhist light that filled the sky. Chapter 2760. The people around them were also outstanding. The auras on their bodies were powerful, creating a strange phenomenon in the world. Elders, sect leader, sacred leader. The people behind them were Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others. They had come here under the guidance of Black Feather Demon King. They didn't expect to see their sacred leader. The disciples shouted crazily. They had no choice. The previous experience was too terrifying. Although it had only been 2 or 3 times, it had greatly reduced their strength. Now, there weren't many of them left. Most of them had been killed. It's really our people. It's not an illusion. The sacred leader spoke. There was a mysterious aura on Shi Wangmu. The Taishian sacred leader's eye of the stars could see through everything. The yin-yang mirror above the yin-yang sect leader's head shone in all directions. It was real this time. It wasn't an illusion. The others heaved a sigh of relief. They waved their hands and shot out beams of light that filled the sky. It was as if the path to heaven was beginning to lead their disciples. Li Xuanxian and the chief enforcer also led Lin Xian and the others over. How did you get here? A grand elder of the moon, worshipping cult, asked curiously. Yes, the journey was so dangerous. The slightest carelessness could have led to eternal damnation. They had been walking carefully. How could their disciples have arrived so quickly? Elders, sect leaders. This question caused many of the Holy Land's cultivators to cry. If others saw this scene, they would be stunned. One had to know that these were top geniuses, peerless experts. But at this moment, they were crying like children. This scene was too shocking. The elders and sect leaders frowned. They looked around, and then their faces turned gloomy. What's going on? Why are there so few people left? Where are the others? Are they behind us? Wudao, what's going on? The Yi family patriarch frowned. What's going on? It's a long story. We're in danger. Yi Wudao's mood was also gloomy. His Yi family had also lost many disciples. The cultivators of the other sacred lands were crying. Many of them had been killed. What? The elders' expressions changed, and the sacred lords frowned. What's going on? Tell me the details. Soon, the sacred leaders learned about what had happened. The frozen princess, the world-destroying formation, the sky full of divinity crystals, and the saint's shield with an artifact spirit. Each and every one of them surprised them. They didn't expect that the place that they thought was safe to be hiding such a terrifying danger. As for the majority of their disciples, they were directly killed in these dangerous situations. This made their hearts bleed. The ones who had come this time around were all elite geniuses. Losing even one of them was extremely painful. Moreover, they had lost so much. Then, how did you get here? Another elder asked the same question. Everyone turned to look at Lin Xian. In an instant, all the sacred masters and sacred masters turned to look at Lin Xian. Li Xuanxian, the head protector, and the others were also extremely shocked. What was going on? Could it be that their palace master had led everyone here? They didn't know. Lin Xian was being stared at by so many saint and sect masters, and the pressure on him increased exponentially. He took a deep breath and circulated the great dragon sword soul in his body to resist the pressure. In the next moment, he waved his hand, and a figure walked out from behind him. A demon king. The elders were shocked, and the sacred masters frowned. Palace Master Lin, what's going on? Queen Mother of the West asked. Lin Xian said, we encountered 3 demon kings along the way. I controlled one of them, and through him we came here. Speaking of this, Lin Xian's expression became solemn. This is also the reason why we came to find you. I'm afraid that the situation is serious. This nest of 10,000 dragons isn't as simple as we think. You don't have to say that, we know that too. Sacred leader, 10,000 Thunder, snorted coldly. Obviously, he still had killing intent towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian glanced at him and frowned. Oh, if you don't want to listen, you can leave immediately. I won't stop you. At that time, it's none of my business if everyone from the 10,000 Thunder sacred ground is buried here. Kid, what did you say? You're courting death. The elders of the 10,000 Thunder sacred ground were also furious. Sacred leader, 10,000 Thunder's face darkened. Although he called Lin Xian Palace Master, in his heart, he didn't treat Lin Xian as the Palace Master at all. The other party was at most a young genius. How could he be on equal footing with them? However, the new powerhouses of the 10,000 Thunder sacred ground said, Sect Master, please calm down. Don't be rash. Yes, the situation was really serious. Hearing this, the elders of the 10,000 Thunder sacred ground were shocked. Sacred leader 10,000 Thunder also asked, What's going on? Palace Master Lin, you should tell us. The Yi family also spoke. We encountered 3 demon kings sealed by divine crystals. These demon kings are not dead, but in a deep sleep. According to our guess, they should be demon kings sealed by divine crystals in ancient times. The black feather demon king in front of me is one of them. He was controlled by me, and the other 2 escaped. According to my inquiry, the nest of 10,000 dragons is not the burial place of the dragon clan, but a place of deep sleep. The entire nest of 10,000 dragons and the entire dragon clan are not dead. They are all sealed by divine crystals, as if they are avoiding a huge crisis. They are looking forward to recovering and ruling the world after the crisis is resolved. What? You're saying that the dragon clan is not dead? This is not an ancient tomb. This is just a place where they sleep. The elders were all stunned. This was definitely a shocking piece of news. Indeed, Lin Xian nodded. We can't use the array formation to send messages, so we can only come to you personally. The expressions of these sacred leaders and sect masters became incomparably ugly. The Queen Mother of the West, the Yi family head, the Gu family head, Li Xuanxian, and the Emperor Lords also had incomparably solemn expressions. If that was the case, then things would really be troublesome. The nest of 10,000 dragons was a terrifying existence. The dragon clan was a legendary race. They had never seen it before. They thought that the dragon clan had been completely extinct after ancient times. Who would have thought that the dragon clan was not extinct, but automatically sealed and hibernated until now? What were they trying to do? Why were they hibernating? What kind of crisis were they trying to avoid? The sacred leaders and sect masters didn't know. They felt that they seemed to have poked a hole in the sky. If the dragon clan really revived and those legendary dragons appeared on the ground, it wouldn't be a good thing for humans. After all, the dragon clan was the leader of the 10,000 races. Although they were called divine beasts, there was still a world of difference between them and the human race. These remote antiquity families and sacred ground sects all had very long inheritances. Naturally, they knew what happened in ancient times and even more ancient times. At that time, the human race was not the ruler of the world, but one of the 10,000 ancient races. At that time, the 10,000 ancient races were extremely powerful, and the Dragon Clan was the most dazzling among them. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.